this would work particularly well for them. For me, I am all aboard the source side on the basis of the veto. While I can rely on WISLA to potentially put some results on the board, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. We'll have to see how that one will work out as we get into the pistol round of our opening map here. Overpass will be seen, and we'll see who gets the early start. Definitely the odds favouring Saw as well here in this one, Dwayne. So if you want to take advantage of the numbers you see on screen, the loot bet is the place to go. Get 10 free CSGO spins and up to 100 euros bonus deposit by clicking the banner underneath the Twitch channel and going to our betting partners of Loot Bet. Early start for Saw, looking for the opening kill. Easy headshots coming in. Jedka and Sparrow for Ponchek will trade back on Muteris, but they'll only be a 2-for-1 favor to the Saw side.
Oh, great aggression coming out from Saw on that city side, looking to try and take some really early fights around that fountain position and stack up through connector. They find the opening pick, make things really awkward for WISLA. Now, you've got to think for the T side, they really have to now try and commit to A. They have no lurk over towards that B bomb site. They know the con presence is there. So the only way of trying to get into B is dealing with this stack in con, and it's not really an option.
USP still held back to the back lines. That's a good flick to Hades, and just like that, any real big chance they had of making this round work is going to go sour for WISLA. Ponchek will make his way up to the side, get a bomb plant in the default position. There is a backstab incoming. I don't think he can deny this bomb plant in time. Damage being sustained as that backline player peeks up. Can't quite get the headshots in of his own right. Roman makes his way out. Stadodo will get tilted by Ponchek next up here. So 3-on-2 scenario. The teams are trying to fight back at this one. Close quarters combat, though, eventually goes the way of the CT side as Ponchek gets his 3K, but gets no more than that. Closed out by Roman, and a pistol goes the way of Saw.
Really great retake there coming out from Saw, realizing the fact we just need to play together. Don't overextend too far. Don't give them really any one-on-ones, and they trade out really nicely. Two players staying alive. They get that defuse through, and for WISLA, they are straight on the reinvestment, getting that AK onto Ponchek to start the round off. And you've just got to think for WISLA, getting that bomb plant, it opens up an opportunity to at least get that force buy going forward, see if you can put some early pressure on the board, because you've got to think, at least for WISLA, this is their map pick, Jay, and they really need to be able to get off to a good start on T.
All right, good start has been found, as you mentioned. WISLA responding with the AKs. So that bomb plant going to get them some very powerful rifles in this one of the T side. They've got the utility bases for Hades, Ponchek, and Mino. Not much else for Sparrow and Jedka have force brought down. I believe they dropped some of those rifles back over to the other T side players, relying heavily on these weapons to kick things off here for the T side.
Yeah, we would have seen Sparrow and Jedka drop, and then one of the individuals forcing themselves. And that's why you could just see a couple of deagles on the back of Sparrow and Jedka being dropped over by their teammates. We saw quite an aggressive standpoint from them in the pistol round. This time around it's a little bit more passive, but they do have a two-man crossfire out from long that could deal with these T sides incredibly well.
AK Ponchek facing around the corner, looking into the bench position over on the bathrooms area. Outside the edge of the smoke, Sparrow down in connector, looking onwards. No contact established. Hades will face in, look for Roman. M4 will catch him. Crossfire step for Stadodo will try and frag back all the same. Ponchek getting Roman to return to a 4-on-4 scenario. AK leans in for Mino, sees two. Sparrow takes out one of those players. Still one player in the back line. He's a known entity of a Muteris. Needs a frag back. They come up with two instead. Ponchek will trade it back to a 2-on-2, but just shuts down the bomb planter. And Ponchek's got to back off, re-pick up this device. 1-on-1 now. He wins out that fight up for a 4K. He got 3 in the last round. Bomb plant stuck down, not going to get faked here. Arky thinks he's definitely going to do that, but no. Backed up behind the boxes, Arky will take the sling, catch him at the right moment, and take the frag.
I tell you what, WISLA may even try and force again, Jay. They've got a bomb plan. They took 4 players down. That's a really crucial round for at least Saw to be able to convert the retake. And things are looking a little bit awkward there. We saw a couple of great kills coming out from the T side. Now, they didn't really let WISLA overwhelm the site. And I think that's one thing that Saw do a really good job of, at least trying to slow the T side down. Don't let them get complete control, start pushing into that bank position. And yeah, WISLA just going for the force buy again. They realize the fact we can reset the economy line of the CTs instantly if we win out this third round.
Big opener for the T-side line. Bringing towards the rifles to return back here. Another force buy coming in for the WISLA side. The bomb plant going to enable that economy just to flourish. M4's AKs a scout in with the Master for Muteris, being the weakest weapon in play for the CT side. By debate, the Dodo, of course, can't get the simple shots in for the sniper rifle, but passive control again from the Saw camp. Smokes up to suppress the T-side entries. Choke points from Monster and from the connector areas established. Bathrooms also siphoned off. But not much control allowed for WISLA. They still lean towards the B site.
The best thing that WISLA can do in a situation like this, Jay, is just try and see if they can bait out as much of that utility as possible and allow those AKs to just get as many dry kills into that B bomb site as possible. A lot of map control being established. Seeing Mino just lurking out from this long position, seeing if maybe he can force out a couple of rotates to A. Oh, that's a big kill. That might force some of the B players to have a little bit of movement.
AK facing up for Ponchek, holding control. Sees the head of one, can't quite take him down. Might not spot the second player on rotate. Arky will take Shpera back to a 4-on-4 situation. Got 2 more CTs to deal with here on the bomb site, though. Third man's also rotated up, so all in all, Saw basically have full control of this site. Time's ticking too far for WISLA. They need to burst in, take these frags and get a bomb plant here. Flashbangs will catch off. Just Ponchek takes him down, doubles up against Arky. Muteris will trade it, but it's a 3-on-2, 2-on-2. As actually the FAMAS drops the bomb out in the open. 10 seconds left. Bomb plant will be secured here, fending off the retake from Saw.
They'll know, though, that both the players are coming in from this heaven position, so they don't have to really worry about Monster and Short. Roman and Muteris, no real utility for them to work with on the retake. They do have a kit. That's a big kill coming out from Roman, and now it's down to Mino, trying to isolate these duels. 1-on-2, he has got Muteris down low, but he needs to deal with both players at the same time, and now it's into a 1-on-1, but it's not going to be one out. Another round going the way of Saw. Man, these retakes have been on point for the CT side.
They really have. 3-0 to start things off on CT. And WISLA's map pick is definitely not started off on the right foot here. I mean, again, CT side and everything, but even with the situation that we were at, you know, there was a 4-on-2 post plant for the WISLA side, and still Saw were able to turn it around to their favor.
And WISLA are going to buy again, Jay, because the loss bonus is now starting to stack up, and they've got another bomb plant. So we've realistically seen like 2 forces in a row now going into a third one for WISLA. And you've just got to think for Saw, at what point are they going to be able to win out a convincing round? Yeah, they're up 3-0, but the basis is they have like hardly any reserve. Yeah, you've got your AWP to come out for Dodo, but outside of that, you've got FAMASs, not even the M4's up. Really struggling in terms of the economy basis for Saw. They just need to make sure, Jay, that they're not getting reset at any point by this WISLA side. Otherwise, that's the opportunity back in for the polls.
The damage being done by both sides will equate to some very hard force backs coming in. The AWP will come through for Saw. FAMAS is on 3 and the AK for Roman. So not a lot of firepower for this CT side. AKs and the Galil set by the WISLA squad. So all in all, they do actually have a slightly better buy than what Saw do, but still limited by the factor of Hades on the Galil. It's Mino that opens things up, taking out Just out towards the Monster face. A good opening kill for the T side.
That was just easy coming out from Mino to find the opening kill. One of the first times I've actually seen WISLA opening up and holding on to that man advantage. I saw quite a heavy lean over towards this B bomb site, Jay. There really isn't any A presence outside of Roman.
Looking on, sees one, making his way out to the bathrooms and back up to the A site. Muteris. Jump facing for info out to the short positions. Dodo. 25 points of health with the AWP. Really Roman, the man that's challenging here with the AK around the corner to this long control. 48 seconds, and they're rotating away from A as the actual commitment looks to come through from B from WISLA. And the fight taken by Shpera will continue to hold presence. Bomb plant basically secured here with no real retake opportunity for the Source sides. The Dodo way too low. Arky's tagged. Muteris has got no firepower. And this should end up being the first round to the board of the WISLA side. Has been a tough affair from the word go to get this opening round on the board. But now that they're going to get this one together, it looks like maybe we might be on for a bit more of a competitive half. I mean, it's down to pistol and conversions coming through for them, with some extra force buys as well. I mean, it does mean that the economy is going to be completely shattered, especially for Saw, who've got to keep these rifles in play. So they'll be faced up now. Arky's just barely going to escape with his life. Stadodo. Arky falls, but the AWP stays in play.
That's still big, though. Like, you could see that there were 3 T-side players all trying to hunt to see if they could take any of the players out. And they get away with 1. They certainly would have been happy with a little bit more. But we've spoken about this economy game. We've seen 3 rounds in a row coming out from Saw. All been retakes, allowing bomb plants to go in for WISLA. They've been very down to the wire, meaning that now the Portuguese side have to reinvest, have to go for the force buy going into round 5. And it's just looking more and more awkward to find a response in. This could be really quick. This is going to be a rush into the B-bomb site.
Out of the gate, flashes over, nades up, smokes in, just in the back line here towards water. One of the force-bought pistols that they have in play for the CT side. AK's moving up, edge of the smoke out towards Toxic. Nice nades on, Jedka will drop just to start. SMG rotates up, Mutra taking some damage. Blind shot through that smoke, trying to drive him away. They won't get away with the kill, though. They'll just keep the CT suppressed, but close towards the bomb site here. Vista yet to enter, yet to find an entry into a bomb plant position. They're backed up towards short. They're looking onto the potentially rotation towards the mid control, but it goes quiet and slow here from the T side. 2 lurkers back towards the monster entrance. The bomb's still yet to commit, but as they reface in from short, it looks like a B will definitely be the place. The Zodo trades the 4 versus 4, and Hades goes full into Muteris.
Hang on a minute, this has all started to turn around. Even with the low HP players on the CT side, they've now got a man advantage, and the Deagle's getting even closer for Arky. As Saw have got 3 players at this B bomb site, and for WISLA, they've really started to slow this down now.
Jedka sees Roman, SMG close, Arky 4 points of health. He's only going to be a linchpin, a backup player, an insurance policy, if you will. Zadodo gets Sparrow, 2 standing, 1 standing as the AWP flicks back, gets its 3K, and Jedka left alone around the pillar. 20 seconds to the clock, the bomb is on his back, but there's way too much CT presence here. Surely he should just get picked apart by the next CT to face him. Might catch off the AWPer, the SMG swings in, gets the frag, and secures the round.
Wow, that was a stellar hold coming out from Saw. And for WISLA, I'm not sure if I like the fact that they slowed it down that much. It sort of seemed like once Saw had that man advantage, once the 4-on-3 came in, they wanted to try and just slow down the pace a lot, see if they can catch any of the CT players getting over aggressive. And Saw just went out some really great fights at that B bomb site and are able to find a response. Now it's going to be 4 on the board for Saw, being able to at least responding straight back after WISLA get their first round up.
Straight in. Rifles are plenty for both sides. Offset from Hades is Tadodo. M4's AKs for Masters also in. Much pressure as one could possibly find. Broken economy state of Saw at least. Molotovs and flashes. Need to make their way up towards mid. Mino. Nade up towards connector. Stadodo. That AWP facing to catch that man off guard. Big opener here for the CT side.
That's a big kill to find, and there's just no response coming out from the WISLA camp. No way of trading out that AWPer, and Sadodo just goes straight back, plays a lot more passive, now towards the A bomb site, smoking off Divider. WISLA KRAKOW have not been able to find an answer. Look at Roman, though. He's getting really aggressive.
Okay. Crossfiring with the AWP. I mean, someone makes way into the bathrooms, but it's out towards the short control for Ponchek and Sparrow. Closing the door. Looking back to the B site, potentially. AK facing for Jedka. The AWP of Hades has prominence over towards the monster entry. A good flash in from the CT side will keep him blind as Arky takes his face up. The Molotov will try to drive him into the open. He has no choice but to face, and Jedka takes him down. 4-on-4 situation. AK moves up, just drops him, looks for a second at Jedka and gets close to the frag. 9 points of health. The FAMAS gets Ponchek, meanwhile. The AWP's Tadodo chimes in it close. Hades is going to get flanked out by Roman on his way from rotation via connector, and that will be a 5th for the CT side of Saw, who have looked so good so far.
It's just been the retaking ability. Rotations have come in really quickly, and yeah, there's been a few rounds they've won without letting a bomb plan come through from the WISLA side, but I've just been really impressed of the way they're moving around on the map. They're getting aggressive out towards A. We're seeing a little bit of, not a massive amount of aggression at B, but just the rotations are so on point. They're getting so much information, especially from the A players. A 5-1 lead on WISLA's map pick. This is a surprisingly strong start for the Portuguese side. Oh!
It just gets better and better. Arky, straight wallbang headshot through to connector. Ponchek dealt with immediately. And of course, they are half by pistols, so it's not exactly a shocking conclusion, but still the shots are good, still the sprays are lucky. And still the kills are coming in with no response frag for the WISLA side. Sparrow does trade it back though, so at least they get the AWP down to a 4-on-4.
Oh, hang on though, Jay. There is a bit of a response back from the WISLA side trying to make their way to A, and the B players need to get a bit of a move on because it's all really down to Muteris. He's made a little bit of noise, but rather than playing deep onto the side, Jay, he's looking to overextend and catches off Sparrow because of it.
Good frag. 3-on-2. And Saw just about maintain control. They're still doing some serious damage, and if they can keep this AWP out of the hands of the CT side, that will seriously hamper the investment. I don't even know if they'll be able to buy it. I mean, maybe I think Arky will just have about enough cash to reinvest the AWP, but only just. Mino will take contact with the big green gun, try look for a kill back on the site. Nobody is there though. They've got the mid control from Muteris, watching for the cross, watching for the default plants here. And Arky now set towards bank, so whether they go for a default or bank plant, they will have a way to deny it. 10 seconds, bomb moves up, checks out position, misses its shot, and Arky takes them both down. So they've grabbed that AWP, Arky with a 3K, and not much was lost here for Saw.
Wow, this is impressive, Jay, but not as impressive as a couple of codes to give you some free money and 15% refill bonus. Who doesn't like that? Malta V and Malta V15, some codes for you guys to use over at home on hellcase.com. Open up some sick cases and potentially get some awesome skins. I tell you what, Jay, like even that crossfire that was being set between Arky and Muteris, it was just so well spread that even if Arky wasn't able to find anything in bank, we were going to see Muteris chime into the action, and they don't let the tower work. We've seen time and time again WISLA missing that.
My information was gained at the very least. Saw did not jump face. Or at least I don't think they did. Didn't get much of a chance to see it, if I'm honest. Smokes go down. Jedka set and ready here towards the monster position, just spraying through the wallbang areas. Mino and Ponchek here playing off each other, potentially a flashbang in towards the mid control, or they'll just put some flashes out initially. Sadodo's not going to take any of that. He's back far passive enough not to take contact and not to receive a face full of white. A minute to the clock. He'll reposition as WISLA take their mid control. Passive past the stairs, though. Not much of anything in the aggressive execute positions.
Oh, even a tag coming through into Mino. 3 HP from the Orpris to Dodo. And that is not the opener that WISLA are looking for. They've completely regrouped around this found position. Surely there's going to be no B presence now. Starting to slow walk along. And again, Saw have got a great read onto this. They've got a 3-man stack today.
Smokes up, AWP's backing away. 30 seconds. And WISLA have got to make their way in. Bomb out towards the long position. Muteris has the AK set at the edge of the smoke. Here to long control. AWP in the back lines. AK spray for Sparrow gets Muteris down to a 5-on-4, I should say. Mino and Sparrow are extremely low though, so the trades are very quick and easy. Got to get that bomb to drop, and indeed they do, but trades are coming in very thick and fast here for the WISLA side. Sparrow burns himself alive actually, and the bomb plant will just be secured. 3-on-3 now for the retake.
Unfortunately there for Sparrow, dying to his own molly, and that puts into a 3-on-3. And considering the low HP from Mino and the lack of utility on the post plant, this could be a bit of a difficult hold to come out for the T's, but they have spotted out the bank player. Arky has been seen, but Hades, oh, the flashbang coming out, and he doesn't get anything with it. The follow-up swing comes through, and now it's an advantage for the CTs.
Orp shot for Mino connects to a 2-on-2 once again. Jedka faces to just Stadodo there with a shot on the first man. P2 brings Mino, takes him down, but Jedka can't find the response, and finally Orp to get a second to the board of WISLA. And all of these rounds have been a struggle here, not just in terms of the half advantage, but also in terms of just the rounds themselves. Even when they've got them on the board, Saw have really suppressed and really limited what WISLA can do. You'll see that in the buy-up here. They lost 4 players, therefore the Orps and the AKs can come back in, but the utility will be extremely limited here for the T side.
Yeah, you've got to think for Sword, like they could have potentially tried to force here and see if they break the economy, but they're thinking a little bit more long-term. The fact of if they force and it actually doesn't work, it could get very awkward for them. So they think, right, we've looked already pretty dominant on the city side. Let's just eco this and stack up towards the top of connector. This could actually kind of be deadly.
USP for Roman. Taking that first face against Sparrow. He'll be seen switching out to the knife at the wrong moment. That can be a kill. Just comes up with 1 and 2, actually. So both him and Stadodo have rifles to work with. Save these weapons, go for the retake. I imagine it would be the former of those options, but they're going to try and hunt for Mino here on this boost spot position. Is he ready for this? He'll have to be. He will take down one, chase onto the second. No, just takes him out. So 3 casualties taken by this player. On for the ace if he fancies the clutch, but he'll just back off towards long.
Wow, that is so much damage. And if you're WISLA, like, you'd be pretty annoyed. The fact that you lose 3 players and you give up an AK to the city side on an eco, where it's not even CZs and pistols, it's USPs. Yeah, that's not great at all. Sword did a really good job of at least being able to establish some really great crossfires. They traded out really well. We see just getting 3 kills while it's picking up the AK. WISLA. This is just such a surprise considering what we've seen from them in recent times. Like, they're not getting decimated by Saw, but considering that this is their map pick and what we've seen from them on Overpass in the past, it really just seems like they're off to a bit of a slow start, and Saw are capitalizing on so many of these opportunities.
It's working wonders for them as well. They can continue to keep the hurt up against WISLA. They do get away with 2 rifles this time, so they can afford the full set of utility, but you can see how the money is just going to be completely in the toilet for them. Hades with the AWP still in play. The rebuy from the CT side will still look confident here. Not as confident as you'd like to see. I mean, I don't remember a single round so far from Saw that hasn't had a FAMAS in it, but
yeah.
Both economies in a very weird state at the moment, especially with WISLA losing out their loss bonus. If either team loses this next round, down to force buy or eco considerations. For now, though, its default play is going to try and win the round itself.
For WISLA, they realize the sort of importance of being able to at least put up a decent T side, and to win out this round here will probably offer that up. Roman is very aggressive out through party. Is anyone actually looking towards this angle? Oh my goodness, he doesn't even fire. They don't know he's here.
Is he going to sneak past them all? No! Not looking the right way. Backs a turn from Roman. No, he's going to sneak on the long control. He can find a whole lot more for this. Takes that one frag, but runs right into Ponchek, who turns around to the response. The AWP gets dealt with as well. So WISLA recovered to a 3-on-3.
We didn't really see that, but man, where was the trigger discipline there? That should have been an easy couple of kills. Oh, that's really awkward from Roman. And after what was such a sick play, the AWP baits out the information from Roman. No one's checking it. And somehow he gets 1 kill. Oh, Saw. That honestly could have been a round victory off the basis of that. If they had, like, the AWP finding the first, getting that 5-on-4, then Roman getting a couple of kills, that puts it in a 5-on-2 and pretty much secures the round. And now WISLA have been able to turn it about and put it in their favor now.
Archie on site, dealt with by Mino. And Just is all left alone, just to save. As WISLA get to 4 on the T side. Has been an effort and a half to get this far, but now momentum swingers well and truly to their favor. I talked about the economy a moment ago, how WISLA were going to be up for the reset, as I saw more so because they got a lot less in the savings accounts, and the end result will end up probably being a eco around this AK. I don't see them force buying and continuing the war of attrition because, you know, at this point, the economy will most definitely be broken and WISLA's going to start to flourish. 3 players alive on this T side. Means that we should be seeing a full set of confidence rifles and utility from them.
WISLA, a big round there from them. And seeing if they can start following up, and you've got to think they need to get Hades more involved. 1 and 8. He was someone in the pregame that I sort of mentioned a little bit, being like the massive star player in the last month or so for the WISLA camp, and especially in big games. You know, when we saw them taking on MIBR, and we saw them taking on North, like he was the standout performer, which is kind of surprising for such a youngster and such a like underrated talent that he excels in big scenarios, like big matches. You'd think that against a team like Saw, that's really where he should be coming into his own. Maybe it just takes a little bit of confidence, get a couple of kills going his way. Ooh. And, well, that is not going to help his confidence at all.
Deagle shot, and the AWP is out of play immediately. Brilliant stuff. Naya's going to continue to come through here from the T side, going to try and wear down the likes of Stadodo, who actually go down to Jedka's nade on the toxic barrels area. Common pre-nade position. AK against Jedka just takes out another good kill. 4 on 3 now with the AK in hand. And WISLA facing a lot more resistance than they might have been expecting here in this round.
I certainly think they did, and it all started off the back of that opening Deagle shot onto Hades. From there, it's all started to spiral out of control, even more damage being done onto Mino. Now, it is a bit of a heavy gamble stack over towards the B bomb site, meaning that Roman is the sole defender at A. And for WISLA, it looks like they want to try and get out of B, start to take this con control and wrap back up to the A bomb site. I wonder when the read starts to come in from Saw that there's no more added pressure at B. If they start to over-aggress through short now, they will see nothing.
The Eagle set and ready here for Roman. Turning away, Ponchette dealt with. Good headshots landed. And just like that, the round ends. No way in for Mino, held towards the mid, control relied on the bomb committing from long. Not enough time to recover this. His opponents will swing against him, do some damage. Batline also pushing forward. They're taking down after time. That'll be disastrous. No, just comes up with the AK kill. 3 AK save from this round. Oh, what a disaster for WISLA.
And Jay, you know, when we cover games in the multivirus and what have you, we always sort of say, oh, it's the CIS teams that look the strongest on these ecos. Man, look at Saw. Those Deagle shots were insane. We saw the USP round where they got away with saving an AK, get 3 kills, and now in that, all they had was pistols. They had that single AK onto Justin, that was it. What a round. WISLA, I can't believe they've just got ecoed pretty much again.
The fast plays out from this T side as well. Going to try to see if they can overwhelm the CT forces. Nades on against Arky, almost taking him down. Mino's on 10 points of his own right though. Incendiaries to force him out of the short control. They know that they've done that damage, but a lot more HP to return against the CT side. So convert those damaged up players to kills. It would be a 2-for-1 for WISLA. Eventually Arky's going to catch the wallbang spray though. Lucky prediction, opening frag is found.
Now, they've got to be careful, though, Saw, Jay, because, yeah, even though they found that opening pick, Justin and Arky are very, very low. A great start, great spam coming through to Arky to take down Mino. And from here, WISLA have got to try and find a way back in. Now, they have actually got some pretty deep map control. They've got 3 players up through long, a single player in bathrooms, and 2 players at this A bomb site for the CTs.
WISLA leaning in towards this A site play. They've got plenty of presence here to defend against it. Of course, a man advantage and everything. AWP rifles. Arky's got that kill easy. Right place, right angle, gets given another kill. They're feeding themselves to this guy. AWP for 3, Roman goes down. Ponchek actually doubles up. But now Bomb going to be suppressed here to a 3-on-2 retake. Favor to the CT side. Arky gets a wallbang and just gets Jedka. Oh, wow. Arky, what a round from him.
Oh, what a round for the veteran. That's unbelievable for Arky. I don't ever remember him really being sort of proficient with the AWP. It's always been the main all-purpose to Dodo, but obviously him being low in the rounds got chossed the AWP. Wow, he had some really great shots there. Even the way he positioned himself in bank, the wall bang coming out into the bomb planter. 8-4. What a CT side. This is really impressive coming out from Saw. And yeah, look, I said that they'd be able to take this series 2-1, Jay, but I've got to be honest, I did not expect this kind of a performance in the first half from them.
Look at this fast play seeming to come through here from the WISLA side. Tech 9s and CZ's up for the rush. Arky immediately gets Jedka. Not even messing around as this guy. 2 frags. Roman gets traded. And Just could get caught off. No, Just lines up 2 kills. And Roman is the only casualty here of the CT side. Nice and easy for Saw to clean up a 9th to this board. And at this point, you've got some serious worries for WISLA.
Yeah, you really do. They have just not been able to respond. Again, I'm really surprised the lack of impact that Hades is having. 1 kill in the last 13 rounds. This is probably one of the poorest performances I've seen from him in months. And that's not a good sign, especially on your own map pick. Saw have just been absolutely decimating these gun rounds. And you spoke a few rounds ago, Jay, the fact that we keep seeing FAMASas coming in. Now they've finally been able to build up a bank. I haven't seen a FAMAS for a while.
M4 for Roman, gets Mino next in line for the kill. Sparrow traded back to a 4-on-4 though, so even standing. Ponchek gonna try and shade that against Buteris, and he gets that frag. 19 HP though, barely getting away alive. That was a frag, a duel that could have gone either way. In the end, it does favour the way of Vista. 4-on-3 with a leaning towards the A side. Again, they've got the majority of presence here towards the defense.
Oh, Stododo. This is a big off-angle holding with the AWP towards the right side cubby. Normally you see like an M4 playing here to try and hide, but Arky's overextending and he takes down Sparrow. That now brings it back into a 3-on-3 and gives a lot of information that it might be an A play.
.35 seconds and the rotations will come through. Jedka and Haney's moving on into the B-bomb site. Had contact from Just, I believe, jump facing to the boost pop positions. Stododo with the AWP in heaven finds Ponchek before the smoke blooms here on heaven. Now rotating towards Graffiti, backstab incoming from Arky as well. Hades gets Stododo down, but 13 seconds. Jedka's facing, the timing's everything, and it works wonders for the D side, but Arky feeds out. Could not get the frag, could not get the round, even though he was 27 HP away from doing so.
Oh, that's big. That's a really big round coming out from Jedka. And I was getting a little bit worried, Jay, because he was actually swinging out to water with that bomb while Hades was trying to establish a bit of a crossfire to look towards heaven. Jedka, big round from him. And just holding some contention as much as possible for WISLA. And we see the force back coming out from Saw going into round 15. They're going to go for the tower again. Are they going to land it, Jay? They are, this time around. Oh, here we go.
For the boost as well. Sees his man. Hades connects that shot. Nice and easy for the frag. Mutualist to fall. And this broken by from Saw will already get worse here in round 15.
Good start coming out from WISLA. Now, they have this, at least for the CT side, established a fair bit of aggressive map control. You've got Arky that's pushed in through short. You've got a little bit of con presence from Roman. As Stododo was at least looking to get aggressive around Fountain, but he decides that he wants to play a little bit more passive at A. Oh, Roman. I think he may have made noise jumping down, Jay.
Oh, that flash is perfect for the SMG to transfer the spray, and every time you think Visla get the advantage, Saw finds some sort of way to outplay them. That timing, that connection is perfect, and Arky comes up on Mino to drop the bomb. 4-on-2, Saw have complete control.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. That flashbang is just so perfect. The swing coming out from Roman, and I'm sure it made noise. I'm sure they knew that he was there. We saw the angle being pre-aimed from Ponchek. And he gets 2 kills. Then they start aggressive out through short. What a round. Saw looking to go double digits, 10-5 up going into the second half, unless Hades and Jedka could try and bring this back.
Oh, leg shot from Stododo though. Takes Hades down to low, eventually finishes off that kill. Jedka can respond, but a 1-on-3, and the Orp's not having any of it. 2 frags to his name for a 10-5 to the board of Saw. Wow, what a half. And again, several situations where I think WISLA should have had some sort of stance to hold around in, and still it's returned and countered by the Source side.
Yeah, look, one thing you kind of mentioned there, Jay, a little bit in that last round was the fact that it seems like every time WISLA have got an advantage and they look like they've at least got a position, it's answered back. And that's really what happened in that first half. We saw opening advantages. We saw the map control coming through for WISLA, but it seemed like every time they were in the better position, there was some sort of play from Saw, whether it was over-aggressing, whether it was a wide swing, whether it was an AWP being able to hit out a great shot, whatever it was, there was always a response. And for WISLA, they just weren't able to hold on to the advantages for long enough.
The odds were favour to Saw prior to this map's start. They still favour them even now. I think that may have grown over time as well.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. 10-5 on CT. The T side is up next. WISLA losing all manners of control here. Now going to what on paper should be their better half, but with the way the Saw have been playing, don't count that as gospel. Utility set up for Stadodo here. No defuse kit for the CT side. Won't matter if Hayes continues to find these frags. Finding Arky for the opener. Stadodo backs off. Rotates out of T-Con to join his teammates. Muturis holding off the connector control. Entries look to come through out towards the B bomb site. It's completely undefended here.
And he's hearing those rotations from Ace. He needs to call out to his teammates. We need to get a move on. We need to at least establish a bit of a post plant. A 5-on-3, an opportunity to get that bomb down, and the T side's getting very aggressive to try and cut off these rotations.
Glock set, flashes in. They're going to try and aggressively face for Just. Stadodo in the back line. No one's covering short, actually. Better be focusing on that angle because there is a CT or two that could come through. Jedka finds his kill back. Just and Muris, last two players left. They do line up for Just, but he only finds that one frag. And that will be a 6th for the WISLA squad. A good pistol to hold on to control. And Saw, well, good efforts there, but in the end, they kind of lost control from the very early start.
Yeah, look, unfortunately for WISLA, they were set up really perfectly to deal with that strat from Saw. It seemed like for the Portuguese, it was right. Let's just try and spread out the map. We'll take some comm presence. We'll get a little bit out towards playground and sort of have a bit more presence over to the B bomb site. Just see if we can work off some information. And for WISLA, they had a really aggressive stance over towards A. They pressed really far forward around Party and a Fountain. And from there, getting those opening picks made it really awkward for Saw. Now, with a bomb plant, it does allow a force to come through. Now, rather than going for sort of like the hero AK buy that we saw WISLA doing in that first half, Jay, after the anti-eco, they're instead just forcing the Galils.
A scout for Arky. Muturis with a Deagle. And of course, Saw there with the bomb plant. Bonus money. Force forward here into the mid position. No early contact established against the WISLA side. Mino's back's turn, though, could be in trouble if he doesn't face up. He does now. Sees two, takes them both down nice and easy. Backed up Stadodo, trades it to a 3-on-3. Grabbing that M4 and now rotating up towards the mid position. Jedka backed up behind the bomb site. From our set, seeing one player, not seeing the players behind him. Just will start to move forward. Haney's in the back seat. Stadodo takes him down. From our desperately trying to gain control here for WISLA. But Saw have forced the issue to a man advantage.
And they can now start to play mind games, Jay. They can fake B, they can go back to A. It doesn't look like they want to commit to this short play. And now the rotations is going to come through. Heaven smoke out for the T's. They're going to start to split in through short and monster.
Ponchek gets the kill against Just. Earlier burst through, looking around the corner. Forced the Dodo, not going to happen. Jedka on 29 points of health. Has got Muturis on 17 to deal with. The Dodo now goes falling low, but Jedka does not get away with the kill. And Saw can return back to a stance here on T. Starting off their T side with a force back against the opponents.
That's really not what you want for WISLA. You need to start off in that second half strong. One pistol didn't win the anti-eco. Just some unbelievable duels. We saw WISLA getting a little bit aggressive. They had a backstab player trying to see if they could bracket in the T's in bathrooms. That didn't work out at all. Force buy back from WISLA, but how do you even compare the buys, Jay? 2 M4s, 2 AKs, and Mac 10 up for the T's, and it's just Deagles really for the CT side.
How the economy favours the T-side forces as well. WISLA were able to force so many rounds in their first half. due to the nature of the economy and the bomb plants they got together. And now here it's going to work better for Saw as there's only pistols out. Deagles, I've seen do impressive stuff on CT defenses and stuff that Saw really shouldn't have been able to do on their half, in particular. WISLA not having a chance to make that work as of right now and already off on the wrong foot. Hades down towards long. Moshfero getting Molotoved out of the bathrooms as well. Forced away, damage being done to him. And further Molotovs, flashes and everything. Face up, he's blind as a bat as Tododo gets us to 5-on-3.
Saw looking really well drilled on this T side. The fact that they double molly the flash, you know, rather than just wide swinging the deagle and just looking for a really easy kill, they're using their utility well. They're making sure that they're peeking on each other's contact and slow walking into this A bomb site. They've already established long control. Just is going to take down Mino, starting to backstab. And now there's only 2 players left on this CT side.
Deagles, Tododo gets 2 easy frags, 4 kills to his name. And that's 12 to the board of the Saw side. And Eco to come through from WISLA may well be conceding a 13-6 at the very least, maybe even more than that. And again, WISLA's map pick, they have lost all sorts of control here.
But you've got to think, you fully eco this round, you're going to get 2,400 in the next. It probably is going to mean, obviously, there's no chance of having an AWP, but there's going to be a lack of utility, lack of kits on that CT side, so they really need to be able to at least try and do as much damage as possible. We saw how much damage Saw was able to do in a round like this. They got away with 3 kills and a rifle. And WISLA are actually going for a very similar setup, too, than what their opposition did. It's a con stat to come out for the USPs.
Well, flashes in from Uterus, going to try and maintain control of the mid position. Mostly in this connector area, they have to worry about. Roman is the most susceptible player to going down. How many will he see? Will they push forward of him? I mean, Just already made his way towards the B site, checking out the graffiti and jungle positions. We'll realize that there's nobody here. Taps up from USPs and he hears all those players. He now knows where the majority stack is. They can just push the bomb in right now.
Yeah, they know. Realize the fact that they know exactly where the stack is. Roman could get off guard, especially if they start to continue to over-aggress. Mino getting 1, Arky and Amiteris chiming together. And look, the cities get away with 1 kill. They probably would have liked a little bit more, but unfortunately for Saw, it all comes off the information, right? They open up B, they realize, okay, it has to be a con stack. We know where the cities are. And getting the rifles in, this is what I talk about, the lack of utility for a few players, lack of incendiaries for everyone. I think there's not even a single incendiary up on that CT side and not 1 kit, Jay. This is what worries me going into round 20.
Lack of anything here for WISLA. Obviously no AWP, as you alluded to, with the buy-ups being so limited across many aspects. They've already used the majority of their utility to set up on the defaults here, and so I haven't even done much debate in anything, you know. They've just done some decent sprays down towards the B bomb site, smokes up, nades up, flashes, whatever. You know, very little being used here by the Ts, and the CTs have responded with a mass amount of force, and they're continuing to use this utility. They're just draining away. And again, all this off of passiveness from Saw, you know. There's no real need for WISLA other than just default standards. Put this utility down, and they've got so little left when the actual execute comes through.
No, you're absolutely right. I think WISLA have done a pretty poor job so far in round 20 of holding on to their util. You really want to be in a round like this, holding on to as much as possible, because when that execution comes through, you want to be able to put those smokes down and those flashes to kind of stop as much of the push as possible, or at least slow it down to bring the rotates in. I saw grouping up to this B bomb site. Now they've got a player in con. Could this be a walkout for a monster? There is a potential of this.
And there was going to be a swing from Ponchek. Flash in from Mino is going to blind him and his opponent's off guard, so Ponchek is the man to go down in this exchange. 5-on-4 with 25 seconds to the clock, and so we're going to make their way up towards the bomb site here. Mutrix planting open in the midst of the smoke. Hades may have heard it. Sprays through, doesn't get any damage towards that man, so no bomb plant denied. Retake for WISLA. Man advantage for Saw. Mutrix jumps up, swings in, gets the kill. Mino falls next. Arky is traded, but Hades got 2 angles to work against, and he won't be able to find frags on any of them. Just gets away with that kill, and Sparrow is left to save.
This is phenomenal, and I think it's at least a phenomenal map, at least for just Portuguese players in general. I mean, you've got to think for the Portuguese scene, Jay. They've had a rough few years. I know there used to be some decent teams in 1.6, but for the majority of CS:GO, you know, you've had your Alien Techs, you've had your Kick back in the day. I can't even remember anymore. Your Giants and your Offsets maybe, but there's never really been a big name team in the Portuguese scene. And at least for Saw, you know, they've made MDL. They're absolutely trashing on WISLA in this first map. It's really great to see, especially coming out of the player break too. These guys haven't played an official outside of their opening best of 1 against North in 6 weeks.
What an impressive performance from this team as well. You know, I talked a little bit about how you could, for us individually, you know, we can rely a lot on WISLA to put some performance numbers in, but very clearly they are on a serious off day. I can respect the best of 1 loss to Sprout, but if they lose in 2 more single-digit scorelines in these next couple of maps, then we could have some serious problems for WISLA Krakow. The Eagles set CZs and Scouts also in play. This CT defense needs to come up good with some sort of round here, either now or grinding back to OT. And if we have to go for that latter option, it is going to be a hell of a road to walk.
Oh, it really would be. WISLA seeing if they can find any kind of opening damage. We've seen the short commitment coming through. Boost up for Mino to look into Con. Long control, though, coming out from Saw. WISLA, what can they really find with this? You've got to think they need to be able to at least find some sort of opening kill. Looking at the scout of Spiro to be able to find some contact, especially with the first man at that A bomb site, and even Stoner just peeking into the angle.
Opening frag. Smokes down Hades, close range at the long position. Roman AK so close at point blank that Eagle faces, does not get any kill for it. Muteris, the man to shut him down. 1 player in the midst of the smoke here. Ponchek could be a bit of a linchpin. There's a CZ right behind him as well. Jedka going to try and hold on, and Mino does catch up with that frag. Jedka is dealt with. Ponchek not even needing to strike here. Mino's doing all the damage here, and this man's going to swing forward. Take that frag, just trades it. And Mino left for the scout alone. 1 on 2. Bomb pump will actually not get secured right here. He's done enough. He's done enough. Are you serious, Saw? That's how you lose the rounds?
What is Just doing?
That's unacceptable.
I don't know what Just is thinking there. They obviously had a miscommunication with how much time was left. He needed to just stick that bomb. And instead, he starts to overextend. They must have not known how much time was left, Jay. That's a big loss. That can't happen. They had that round for sure.
And I mean, they had the info on Mino, right? He got 2 kills. Unless he repositioned from dumpster, and they thought that, I mean, even then, that plot is open for that angle.
Yeah, they just didn't know the time. That's all it was. It makes no mental decision to be able to aggress that far forward without knowing the time. And I tell you what, this could be the way back in for WISLA. That is a big, big round to lose. And for WISLA, now they've got the AWP on Hades. Now they've got the opening pick on Tamino. And that could be the tilting factor, too, for the Portuguese side.
I mean, they have got a limited amount of utility, a limited money state as well, so they really have to win this round confident, keep all 5 players alive. They want to continue their long-term strategy into the comeback. If Saw can do damage, or if they can win this despite the 5-on-4, then this could get a little bit awkward for WISLA still. Same said for the opposition side, though. 55 seconds, they're leaning in towards mid, looking for another A play, hopefully with a little bit more time to the board. So Dodo catches off Hades, 4-on-4. They've got direct line in from mid.
Oh, Sparrow there. It all comes down to timing. Is anyone watching this on the T side? So Dodo is! What a shot coming out for the T side orb. That's fantastic. Muteris with the spam. And what an instant response coming out from Saw. WISLA have to save Jay. 2-on-4 retake. It's not happening.
Orb turning around at the right moments. Then Dodo peeking in towards the bathrooms. WISLA. Ponchek and Jedka hold on to the two M4s back here, backed up towards the B site. And this will be map point for Saw here on WISLA's map pick. And again, this is the worst case scenario. Losing that AWP in 2 rifles with the amount of investment they had in this round as well. I don't think they'll have enough for a full-blown buy, and yeah, you can see what that's going to do here. 15-7 map point. And surely there should be no way for WISLA to respond to this one.
Yeah, you'd think so, right? Now they can drop, well, they dropped a Fammer. I think they might have dropped a Scout over too. Yeah, look, it's awkward. Buy's not great at all. And this is really something that we've seen that Saw have done throughout this entire opening map, Jay, is that they haven't really given any follow-up rounds up for WISLA. Outside of their 3 in a row, it's all been singular rounds for the Polish camp this entire first and second half.
Ten to 5 at the half means that, you know, as you mentioned, first and second rounds for WISLA, and that's been it. AK's set, rifles out, AWP's in, a scout for Sparrow to try and respond to the sniper rifle of the Thieves. And despite Storm making some pretty catastrophic mistakes, they're still able to recover back with confidence, and WISLA either need to find a way to force those mistakes or get lucky and get one of their own, punish it in whole, punish everything that Saw are doing wrong, because it's 8 rounds to the overtime comeback.
And there's just no util now. You got a couple of flashes on this CT side. They didn't have a lot to start with. The aggression's coming out from short. Now, Muteris could get overwhelmed here, one-on-one trade, but no, Jedka wins it out. That's a big fight to be able to win on the CT side.
5-on-4, Mino. Tempted the swing, Caesar, Key takes that fight, doesn't quite win it out. Going to force him back further, and forcing him at 6 HP. Meanwhile, just starts the exit out here. Ponchek with the M4 on that cross position, now giving up his angle. So Dodo and Roman, quick swings, 2-for-1 trades. Low HP for Arky and Roman could be a bit of a problem, but the deal gets caught off on Hades' part. So Mino with the AK, all that remains. Sparrow trying to jump face with a scout, drops to Dodo to 12 HP, and he drops to the AK next up. Scout shot connects some damage, but does not get the kills. Justin Roman swing on the last 2, take them both down, and it's 16-7 for Saw. A monstrous performance there. On their CT half, it looked great. On the T side, even. And they take the map pick of WISLA KRAKOW. Well, I was not expecting that. I thought we could see a close affair in the context of this best of 3, but to lose that badly on your own map pick, that is a concerning sign for WISLA.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure what's happening to WISLA, and honestly, Jay, you know, the fact of the matter is, I don't know whether they've been on too much of a high, that they've had some really great results recently. We spoke about it in the pregame, taking down MIBR and North, and then losing your map pick to Saw. It's something seriously not right today. That looked a really poor showing from them. Hades hardly did anything. The fact that he was the lowest performer on the server is a massive surprise. He's normally the one that's 30 bombing, having massive amounts of ADR, massive amounts of impact. And for WISLA, I think it only gets worse from here, Jay, because now we're going into Dust 2.
And we've seen numbers like that from some of your top performers, and in general, the numbers were pretty low from the WISLA side. You know, like they are barely outpacing the bottom fragger of the Saw side, which is, you know, a very discouraging sign. You know, it doesn't feel like they're warmed up today, and you know, considering the earlier loss to Sprout, which is also a single-digit scoreline, you have to wonder if you know, they're warmed up today, whether they were ready for today's competition over on that WISLA KRAKOW side, or whether or not they're just being facing against real tough opposition that they weren't able to deal with in the past. Did talk about the veto not going too well for them, and Dust 2 is coming up next. Losing their own map pick that badly does not show encouraging signs for a map that historically they have not been fantastic on. So join us after the break, see if WISLA can pull off the miracle comeback after this. Welcome back to Malta Vibes. Welcome back to an elimination match between SOAR and WISLA KRAKOW. An elimination match that could well end in the next half hour's time because, my God, what a dominating performance from the Portuguese squad. I mean, in a fashion that we weren't expecting as well, you know. We had a lot of sort of possibilities of potentially a 2-1 series going the way of the SOAR side, especially with Overpass being the map pick of the WISLA side. We thought, hey, you know, that was going to be their map victory. They were going to take that. And then SOAR were going to take control of the rest of them over the course of the rest of the series because the next two maps are Dust 2 and Nuke. You know, one map of which is not a great map for WISLA, the other of which is a fantastic map, probably the best map in the pool for SOAR. You're looking at that thinking to yourself, man, how did WISLA fight their way out of this one, considering how dominated they were over on map 1?
I just don't think you do. That's just the blunt answer. It's going to be a really tough time. Again, look, Dust 2 is an insta-ban. They don't play this map really at all. The only two times we've seen them play it in the last 3 months was against Wizards and Skate, both times being losses. Yeah, one of them was an OT, but they just don't play this map. So the fact that it's come into the veto, the fact that SOAR have picked it, yeah, they're on a 7-map losing streak on Dust 2, but they've also got some really great wins, and I love the play style from SOAR. I've seen them a few times on Dust 2. They love getting out of Longhouse really quickly on that T side. They're a very aggressive Dust 2 team. And one thing that they do a really good job at on T side is they almost never run the same thing more than twice. You always see versatility in their defaults, and I'm just really keen to see what they can bring to the server going into this second map.
The key thing to remember as well is that Dust 2 is so aim heavy, so frag heavy, and you consider how, you know, dominated they were that scoreline. It wasn't just down to the tactical style of SOAR, it was also down to the stats. You can see those top performers, Dodo with his AWP going +11 on his KD versus Mino who went -3, and that was the lowest margin for the for the WISLA side, or the highest margin. I should be more specific because everybody went negative in that game. Everybody had a poor performance. You even had Hades who was going even lower to the likes of like 6 frags over the course of however many rounds it was. It just wasn't a good time for WISLA. Like they really struggled throughout that one. And on Dust 2, like you consider numbers like this and you think, how do you beat the Dodo? How do you beat the SOAR guys who are all popping off, all looking really good? Even Mutris, their bottom fragger, has some clutch moments, some key moments in the round, which turn the tide to the favor of SOAR. And when you've got situations like that, you just think you kind of shut out.
Yeah, look, absolutely, and SOAR are no youngsters. You know, they're probably, at least for the core of this team, like some of the oldest guys that are still competing in Tier 2. You've got Arky that's 30 years old. You've got Muteris and Roman that are in their late 20s. I suppose Dodo's at 23, and I think Just is like 23 or 24. But these guys are veterans. You know, they're 1.6 players. They've been around in CS:GO for a really long time. Yeah, maybe they haven't had the deepest runs in Tier 2 Counter-Strike, but I tell you what, it honestly seemed like it wasn't even the experience that was trumping them up in that first map. It was just the firepower. Their deagles are insane. The AWP that you said of Dodo was hitting so many great shots. Their raw entering on the T side was great. There were so many positives of just firepower from these guys.
Yeah, and it's just like every single thing you can pick apart to sort of discuss whether or not, you know, the WISLA side can clutch this against them on Dust 2. You know, every single stat that you can consider, it all goes the way of SOAR. The only thing that doesn't is the 7-map loss streak that you mentioned from the SOAR side. But even then, you consider that they've got a 0% win rate from WISLA in the last few months. In fact, I think if we go to the last 6 months, you'll find that they only won 2 maps out of the only 8 times they played it in that period of time. So like they've not played this map at all. They've got no practice. They've got no experience. They've not got any decent results. Yes, they had that overtime against Wizards, but that's Wizards. This is SOAR, a team that are on the up-and-comer. You know, they are looking to try and break through to the next sort of tier and become like a definitive top tier 2 team with their promotion to MDL in tow and with several great performances, including in the week 1 of Malta Vibes and in several other tournaments as well within their region. Like they are a regional powerhouse and they may well become a European sort of name to be reckoned with. When you got that considered for WISLA, you're looking at a situation where they are going to have a tough time here in our second map and our third map if we even have to go there.
Yeah, and I think sort of within like the Spanish and Portuguese scene, it's always been sort of the Movistar riders that have been looked at, maybe Giants as well, rather than SOAR. But you even look at the riders, you know, they don't even have a majority Spanish team anymore. They've now gone to an international sort of lineup. So for SOAR, you know, they're keeping that sort of, what is it, the Iberian region? Is that what they call it? Like the Spanish-Portuguese scene?
Yeah.
So, you know, they're keeping a completely Portuguese team outside of Arky that's Spanish. But look, it's working really well, and they're certainly delivering on the server today, which is great to see.
And delivery is what will get them over the edge here on Dust 2. For me, I'm gonna, you know, unofficially change my prediction to 2-0. You know, just because of the nature of, just because of the nature of how good that map was. I think any sane person would have done that with their own right. Like, I know that you obviously won't do that, so I'm not gonna ask you whether or not you do that on an official capacity, at least, you know. But you know, in terms of if you could, would you?
Oh, well, absolutely. I think what you've got to look at, you know, like for us, when we say, oh, it's going to be a 2-0, it's going to be a 2-1, I think if we say 2-1 and then the opposition loses their map pick, then it instantly gets turned to a 2-0 because you're thinking in a 2-1 fashion, oh, they're going to lose their opponent's map pick, they're going to win their own map pick, and then they're going to win the third. So off that mentality alone, we both said, right, Dust 2 and Nuke is going to be theirs. So the fact that one overpass, of course, it should be really quite a simple 2-0 now for Saw.
I think the thing that makes me change my mind is not necessarily the fact that, you know, it was a loss on their own map pick per se, but just the fact that it was such a dominant loss. You know, that's the reason why I'm looking at that whole thing. But the Knife Rider is ready to go live here to Egg, so a reminder to you all. The Malta vibes brought to gaming, multi home gaming excellence. Win conditions for WISLA. How on God's green earth do they fight their way out of this?
Yeah, look, you know, I don't want to be like too cheesy about like how to say it, but like they just need to fire up. Like you need Hades to get more involved, and they need to be finding impact. They really struggled in terms of the kills, in terms of the impact they were finding, even following up rounds. One thing I spoke about was the fact there were so many singular rounds being won, and that's just unacceptable. It really hurts the economy when you're not being able to follow up 2, 3, 4 rounds in a row, at least having patches of streaks. The fact that they had 3 in a row at one point and then just singular for the entire first map, they need to be able to get contention, be able to get off to a good start to start this map off, and just get Hades involved.
And you can see the odds haven't shifted much. Still well and truly to the favor of Saw. WISLA have 2.16 coming into this map. And of course, if you want to get involved with those odds, then the best way to get involved with the Malta vibes is by loot bet. Get 10 free CSGO spins up to 100 euros bonus on your deposit. Clicking the banner underneath the Twitch channel. This match and our following match, our elimination match, our decider match of the night later today. For all intents and purposes, Saw are in the driver's seat. They go to the CT start for this one. Defuse kit for Dodo, the double flash for him, utility set for Mino and Sparrow as well. WISLA, I think they need a confident T side. If they don't get at least 9-6 or 10-5 in this half, I have a feeling they're done.
Yeah, look, I'm with you there. It needs to be off to a pretty good start. I mean, Terrace out of the gate, getting forced way back off angle out from the T's. Just a single flashbang has given them complete control. But there is a little bit of movement towards the lower tunnels. What a shot coming out from Mino, though.
All right, big P250 frag. The smoke to get set up here towards the cross position. They've got CTs facing up, and they'll see that one coming through. Muteris seeing all the players that he can, tagging up. Not taking anybody down, though. Flashes to make their way in. Hades going to face around. The Flash will catch him in the face, though. He compares this towards the site, though. Stadodo with that headshot. Muteris is going to get traded, and Mino in the back line holding control here. WISLA. Face up. Stadodo is going to see them there on the site in the back line. Roman gets Ponchek down. Sparrow back behind Carr, ready for the Glock. Face sees one, takes him down, turns around as Mino gets that kill. Roman finds his kill in the round, but only a 2K for the man. WISLA will end up with their pistol victory and a good start on the T side setup.
Some really great duels coming out from WISLA. Obviously, that opening kill on Mino really helped them out. They get the cross smokes through. They actually wait a little bit rather than just sort of trying to get onto the site really quickly. They start to slow it down, try and force in the rotations. A great timing on a lot of those peaks, especially from Sparrow to that car angle. First on the board for WISLA, but they need to make sure they are at least following up because there is a force fire coming out for the Source side, and we've seen how successful they've been on ecos and forces, especially in that first map.
One kill for Stadodo there with the Deagle. With a quick long control is going to get destroyed by WISLA as they control on T's side. Look towards the A site play. Arky could be there to deny a kill, but most likely he will be unable to land enough to get the control out and the secured sort of round for the CT side. Got back up on Muteris towards short as well, so there is a little bit that they can work with here on the A defense, but for WISLA, for the most part, it's all just a case of storm in, shoot some heads, get the site, get the round.
Back to this long control. They'll have to do with the scout of Arky, and he needs to make sure that he's not overextending again. Good shot through the smoke onto Spiro, and that answers back in a 3-on-3. Oh, Muteris has dropped that bomb. Now it's a man advantage for the CTs.
He's still lurking in the midst of that smoke, making some noise. Scout shots blind, hoping to connect something. No headshots found. Justice there with the Deagle as well. Knowing where that bomb was dropped as well. The Scout eventually gets dealt with, but still tags Ponchek on the way out. Even standing for these two CTs back towards the CT spawn. Flashes over. Neither player gets caught here, and that bomb out in the open means that Saw could, in theory, hold contention here. But both players keeping their heads on swivels, expecting potentially a long wraparound from the Saw side. And understandable play as well, but Plant going to get secure. Muterus moves up just there to back him up as well. No one keeping their eyes on Carr, seeing the man. Jedka takes him down. Doubles up in the end with an awkward spray. Damage done to nearly 21 points of health. And WISLA do lose 3 in that exchange. For Saw, though, there will be an eco coming through, so we should see the economy still build regardless. Yeah,
and there's an opportunity, especially for the MAC-10s to come through if Hades wants to upgrade to one himself. I see Sparrow's trying to go straight into that MAC-10, build up as much money as possible. A great play there coming out from Jedka. We saw Ponchek very late into swinging into CT. It seemed like he wanted to kind of play passive, keeping his eyes out for the short position. 2-0 start to come out for the Poles, and Jay, they're looking like they're going B, and the stack is looking like it's an A.
Yeah, 2 rounds towards the A side, so I saw just like, you know what, let's sit back here and try to see if we can catch them going into that long control, but as is standard, WISLA leaning out towards the B site play, trying to outplay Saw and bait them in. No massive aggression coming through from this CT side. I have another player. No one's going to rush back in towards that B site, realizing it's suicidal. No one want to give themselves up to the MAC-10 and let the kills go their way. They do back up here, trying to spread out and evade that MAC-10 now. Then I know that it's there towards the short angles. He just flashes it over Mina with that AK faced in. Seeing several. Comes up with the kill. Jedka, someone's supposed to on Aki. Sparrow falls with his own MAC-10, just on 1 HP. Muterus picking that up. Gets dropped by Ponchek. Next, Dodo and Just, last 2 players left. Any frags will do, but only that 1 kill being found. The weapon drop that they won't be too fussed about here for the T-side camp. And Hades saving without any sort of upgrade weapon. We'll go straight in with the AWP in this round.
Yeah, get it dropped over from Jedka. He wants that big green gun. And you know what? They're actually going to chuck it over to Sparrow because he's got a really good spawn out towards that longhouse to maybe see if he can find an early contact. We'll have to deal with Dodo being the AWP up on the CT side. It really just comes off the basis whether Saw want to go for that early contact out from long or just give it up to the T side. Seems like there's going to be a bit of an AWP battle, though, and Stododo is going to win it out completely blind.
Muterus going to try and follow suit on Mino, and does get traded back by Jedka. 2-for-1 trades eventually favor of Saw. And WISLA again spread out on their defaults, held towards the mid and long presence. They have got Hades making his way out towards the long pit area. The AWP looking to try and hunt for Stododo back there on towards car position. The smoke should buy him enough breathing room to get out of dodge. Faces away past the Molotov towards that cross towards CT spawn. They completely vacate the A site though, so WISLA can walk straight in, get a bomb plant if they so desire.
A retake setup coming out from Saw, and you have to think it's going to be the majority of players coming up through short. I wonder whether they're going to wrap even a player out through long, because there is a T-side player there of Hades. WISLA, do they plant for short or plant for long? Planting for long would actually make the most amount of sense, considering that's where the AWP is.
Down onto default, Ponchek taking a couple of flashes to the face. Jump up, looking for the CTs, nades on. Damage being done. He gets that kill on Romans with 3-on-3. 2 more to line up. Arky gets Ponchek to fall. Jedka on ramp. Dodo facing with the AWP slowly. Shot baited. Hades also on site. Backed up. Getting Arky towards long. And Jedka follows suit with a Glock kill. And a 4th on the board for the WISLA KRAKOW side.
Okay, this is just so much better already. And I'm really glad that going into Dust 2, they're at least holding their weight really strongly. Off to a flyover start. Could potentially go up 5-0. Saw should really just be on an eco here. Maybe even try and go for the double AWP setup going out to that next round. And it started off quite nicely from Saw. We saw the opening AWP battle out for long, being 1 out for Stododo. They had a retake in with a 4-on-3 advantage, I should say, and still didn't win it out. But look at that shot. That was a bit crispy.
Wow. That was a shot. That's an opening kill. There's one against Sparrow. Down towards the mid control. He's picking up the AWP mantle. I'm going to catch another player back here towards the top of mid area in the T spawn. No CT is there. Therefore, there will be no major response. WISLA playing passive again after losing the opening kill. They don't want to concede any more back to the CT side.
That's a good start, but they need to be making sure they're holding on to this advantage. And I'll tell you what, Roman could be a quick rotate into B, so really there's going to be 3 players at this B bomb side. Just needs to make sure he's finding impact. He's seen the info. Now he can force in the rotation.
Here they come. Flashes over. Just still set with the Deagle up close towards Cast. The Dodo there with his Deagle shot of his own right. Takes that first fight. Roman gets Mino. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the bomb site itself, Jedka comes up with 2 frags to return. 3-on-2 scenario. Bomb plant can be secured, but the man advantage favors Saw here.
Oh, they're pushing through the smoke, Roman. The Deagle comes out. And what a retake to come out from Saw. What a round in general. And I'll tell you what, we should nickname these guys the Eco Kings. I can't believe how many rounds we have seen so far. I think we saw, what, 3 on Overpass, where at least they did mass amount of damage or even converted these Eco rounds, not even a force. And they get away with an AWP, an AK, and or 2 AKs and a round victory. That's absolutely massive to come out from Saw.
And again, low investment, big returns. The rebuy coming in from Vista, obviously. You see the AWP, the AKs in. Mino's got to grab that one that's dropped on the floor. The AWP set for Hades and Stadodo. It's just that'll make his way out towards the B site contact. A lot of long presence towards Longhouse for the CT side. And Vista making their way into the tunnels area. They are going to get siphoned off by Just here. But no contact towards B. Might be a mid to B split. Right now, they just got mid control.
It looked like they're going to start to slow it down. Maybe if it was a bit quicker and they had Hades in a bit more of a different position, then they could have got in quite quickly for the mid to B, and it would have actually worked out really nicely. There was only a single anchor at B, running a 3-1-1 setup on the CT side with 3 players stacked up towards A. And not a lot of contact's been made so far, Jay. It's been a lot of nothing coming out from both sides. We're getting closer to a minute on the clock, and not a single point of damage is done to either team.
Orb set and ready. Smoke down, Just still ready to take contact here on top of the stack. Seeing nothing coming out the tunnel's entrance, though. It's still mid-control for Vista. Spiro finally opens up, entering towards short. Taking the Dodo down. Roman goes down as well towards the mid-to-B face. Arky there with the AK just couldn't land that headshot. And Vista capitalizing and punishing the mistakes of the Source side. 1 player left alive. And all 5 look to stay in play for Vista, at least until Just gets that 1 kill and a 2nd frag. 16 HP, though. Surely the retake can't be on for him.
You'd think so, right? To be fair, there is kind of an opening out through CT, but he's still got 2 mid players to deal with, and Spirit's going to peek out. I tell you what, Jay, it's like we're being surprised on map 1 and now on map 2 too. Like the fact that WISLA pretty much got decimated on their map pick, and now going into Dust 2, Saw have just completely lost control. They're going to take a tactical to just try and figure out what's gone wrong here. Because, man, this is really not a start that they need, especially with the fact that this is an insta-ban from WISLA. I think you mentioned they've played it 8 times in 6 months. Yeah, they've played it twice in 3 months. They just don't play it. And the fact that they've come out this strong already is a lot of great confidence for WISLA that they can continue this momentum, continue putting rounds up on this T side for them.
And the fact we're seeing this good of a T side, I mean, yes, it is T side for WISLA. But even so, the fact we're seeing any level of confidence coming out from this team is a shocker to me. Saw the double orb setup, going to try and find some sort of response here. I mean, Vista are within touching distance, have already gained the half. They can just continue to capitalize here. Orb set in for the T side, looking past that smoke. There's no CT aggression to come through against it. Backed up, AK set, AWP for Spero looking on down the long control, but nothing going to be seen here from Saw.
Really passive deep into the site. And you've got to think for WISLA, this has to really be a long commitment from them. And Molly coming out to the car position. They've already got 2 players in the pit, especially with that AWP. And we've seen time and time again, WISLA go back to the basics, going back to this longhouse control where they've been able to take it pretty much every single round. Outside of that one time that we saw Sododo winning out the opening 5 from Spiro, WISLA have had a pretty easy time contesting this long position.
"45 seconds. Backed up. Muterus ready to receive on the A bomb site alongside Arky here. Both players looking down. Flashes over from Muterus, going to try and support his teammates. They pop out. Arky gets dealt with immediately, running into the main stack of the T side. Ponchek deals with Dododo as well in the back line. And again, WISLA walking into the bomb site. Very little contest coming through from the CTs. And the retake is probably off the cards.
This is worrying. Very worrying indeed. Great shot coming out from Spiro. Wow. I'm just kind of so confused how Saw have just let this slip so far in this first half. Muterus trying to hold on to this for Mars, but you should think that that won't be too much of a contest. He gets a couple of kills, tries to fall back, but he's still got 2 players out from it. No way he's holding on to this AK. WISLA continue their streak of rounds. This is now a 6-1 lead for them. And we've already seen 1 tactical from Saw. Maybe it's time for another one, because they're going to have to eco here. Yeah, it is.
You're way too passive on that bomb site. I think they're going to recognize that, or at least, you know, someone in that camp is going to recognize it. Try and see if they can make a fix-up here in this tactical timeout, and a fix-up for you as well for your inventory. Only at hellcase.com. Use code MALTAV15 for your free money and free refill bonuses. Take advantage of the updated case battles upgrader, dozens of giveaways per month, and more absolutely unique features. Open some stick cases to get some stick skins, and our case partners at hellcase.com. AK's in, AWP's out. A scout in for Arky initially indicates a force buy, but it looks closer to be a half buy from Saw.
Yeah, look, buying down to about that 2k mark. Be on max round loss bonus, so they'll be able to at least get a pretty decent buy going forward. WISLA, though. I'm actually surprised that we're seeing T-side AWPing coming out from Spiro. I'm not sure if that's just a call that Hades isn't really feeling it today. And we certainly see a lack of impact from him, especially in that first map. But Spiro's normally sort of that hybrid player that picks up the second AWP on CT, but he's actually AWPing for the majority of the T-side rounds for them.
Two frags found for the T-side AWP and AK. Jedka chimes in with his own kill in this round. Muterus and just the last 2 players that are left standing. And yeah, this round is getting picked apart pretty easy so far for the T's. I mean, you can't expect much more than that. T7 for WISLA. Saw to reconsider their options here into the next rifle round. They will need a rifle victory, though, because they are really running out of breathing room. And again, T-side caveats aside, Saw need to get some sort of stance to work with into the second half.
You've got to think that they've taken a couple of tacticals now, so they've probably started to at least realize maybe where one of their weaknesses are. And I know one thing you've been talking about is how passive they are on the sides, and I agree with you there. I think maybe trying to get a little bit more aggressive, whether they take lower tunnels control, they're aggressing up through short, or maybe even just contesting longhouse. I think they're just playing too passive, and they're giving too much map control away, and still making this round pretty expensive. A getaway with an AK and an AWP. I tell you what, that's actually pretty decent that they take down Spiro and Ponchak.
Buy coming through here for Saw. Or for Dodo once again in position here with the M4s, the AK for just safe from that last round. Open the AK's back from the T side. A bit of a heavy investment from Spiro and Ponchak. Their money is not quite built as their teammates has, so might cause some problems for them if Saw can get going here. Longhouse control coming in. AWP seen here by Muterus. Incendiary is back out to the open. Nades up to drive them away from the Longhouse position. And with that control, they'll realize they've driven WISLA back away. Try for the long control, this time out towards the mid control. I'm trying to find a work in towards the A site, potentially wrap around towards B.
Much like this from Saw, taking that long control is certainly a great advantage to work with. It means that they can at least bring a single player over towards long and then bring the second player back to the A bomb side to try and help defend from Dodo. But it's the mid player that goes down from Roman. That opens up the opportunity for a mid to B split now, but it looks like they're pretty much sold on the short commitment for the meanwhile.
Orps to Dodo, Sparrow there with the AWP. Passive angle on the corner to contact and take. Mino. And Sparrow. Both players looking for that way in, that return frag. And the case of Dodo catching the man on the rifle. 40 seconds to a 4-on-4, and it looks like WISLA is still yet to commit here. Smokes down towards mid to B, though. Could be a fast route towards the B site.
No, they're faking mid to B. They've got a lurk smoke out from B, and that's forced Arky really aggressive. Now Dodo's kind of caught in two minds as he starts to challenge out from long or back in the bomb side itself. Tags up the player from long, but this round is pretty much done. Saw have just completely fallen apart. They got baited into a B site XE. What a fake coming out from WISLA. That made the rotation so awkward.
And as soon as that aggressive push came in, you knew it was going to start falling apart for Saw. Dodo either face towards short, get flanked from long, or face towards long, get flanked from short. Unless he forced that opening kill on his opening face, that would have worked for him. That wouldn't have worked for him, I should be more specific. 8-1 to the board. WISLA, a wonderfully played round, and just to continue making its way forward here for this T-side camp. A force back from Saw, desperate to find a response at this stage.
Yeah, they really are. That was just a really nice fake. You know, they've got a lurk smoke out from B. The mid to B smoke comes in too. So it looks like for sure they're going for a B split, but no, that's not the case at all. Saw aggressive out from long. That's the opening kill from Muteris. He gets away with two, but can't follow up with any more. Great advantage to be found from the Portuguese side.
Is this the way in for the CT forces? Muteris, massive impact from him in this round. AWP if Dodo trumps back in against Sparrow. Now suddenly Hades left alone. Flash over, AK face sees one, does not see the second. He's way too blinded by the flash. The Molotov will take out Dodo, but the AWP gets saved by Arky. And finally, Saw getting something back on CT.
It's about time. It really is. We've seen some force attempts, some ecos, and some gun rounds. Muteris, a great flashbang out from his teammate to find a couple of opening kills. Good contest out from long. WISLA, though, even from here, Jay, I would say if they get an 8-7.5, which I doubt that they will, I'm for sure thinking they're going to get more than that. But even with an 8-7, I think they can be satisfied with what they've achieved on T side.
Utility coming in, set piece towards the B side. Most flashbangs here from the T side forces, and it's contact from Just seeing two, taking two down as well. Sparrow not checking that angle. Flashbang in, gonna enable it. 3K. Roman goes down. USP still facing. Just somehow gets away with an ace. The last two kills on a USP. That should not be allowed by WISLA.
It really shouldn't. I don't know what happened there in that execution. First of all, they missed the smoke to land towards the doors. And you're right, all there was flashes. There was no molly towards backplat, no swings coming out from car. It seemed like from the WISLA side, they were in two minds of whether to keep aggressing or to stay passive. How does Just not get traded there? 3 kills out from the car position, starts to overextend with the USP to find the ace. That is unbelievable. And for WISLA, they've got to be kicking themselves. They can't believe they let that happen.
AK and Mina looking straight down, looking for Muteris next. Saw with their way into this map up. And a half buy from WISLA to try and get their economy back on track. Desperate need to just get this one over and done with. Any damage would just be great, I think, at this stage for the T side.
Yeah, the more damage they can do to the CT economy, the better. You've got your AK on the back of Mino. He's got to be a big damage dealer. See if you can maybe force some rotations in. Now, at the moment, it's looking like a pretty heavy retake setup because really there's only a single player defending this A bomb site. Muteris needs to get into a stronger position to try and back up his AWPer.
Mutuous kill on Hades. AK easy as that set. 5 on 4. Bomb plant for Ponchek will be secured. So at this stage, that's already going to be a little bit of bonus money here. Arky getting Ponchek next. AK continues to face forward for Mutuous. Frags back on the headshots through the smokes. 2 standing. Deagle up. Good shot from Jedka. Will return 1 frag. No more than that, though. Mino left towards short to hold on to his AK. And Vista will get away with about as much as you want to hope here from a half-by. Does find that kill, though. And the second hold on Mino. Mino not quite getting Stadodo. The fuse will come through. This will be a 4th for sure.
Spoke about the damage, Jay. They get away with a bomb plant and 3 kills in a round. All they've got is an AK and a Deagle. Really, really big round coming out from Mino. And there is a chance for like an instant reset here. Pretty much no one's got money outside of Stadodo on that Source side. And yeah, off the back of that ace from Just, it's answering their way back in. But they need to make sure they're clawing these rounds on the CT side to bring it back as close as possible. WISLA, they can be really happy with the damage they've done, but they need to be able to follow up with a round because this is now, what, 3 rounds in a row from the Saw camp. They're starting to build up a bit of confidence.
Incendiary's out, AK in for Mino, seeing all the utility come down. 2 HEs onto the T side, and that's going to do a significant amount of damage. Arky comes in against Mino, takes that frag. Ponchek takes Mutuous to a 4 on 4. Smoke set, flashes over. Arky still 15 HP, holding control back, but his teammates are falling in around him. He can be the only player to defend the long control. The wraparounds will come through. There's a player that's made his way out from short, though. Sparrow, uncontested, backed up, and the CTs don't know about this.
I don't think they do at all. He has made no sound cues. He's hardly used any utility. Now, Arky is looking to the bomb side itself, but it all just comes down to timing. Sparrow's got to find at least a kill here to open up the side. Ponchek's going to chime in. They know a player's towards CT, and they know that Arky's out towards long. They have so much information, and it's just getting ripped apart. Just is trying to save. It's not going to happen. WISLA, it seems like everyone's on the same page here on the T side of knowing what to do, gathering the information as working as a unit, and that's something that I thought missed a little bit on that T side of Overpass. It seemed like players were in 2 different minds, not quite playing as a unit, but on Dust 2, we're really seeing that come together really well.
And again, Saw losing control. WISLA just to stack up the rounds, and that 9-6 is going to be the half that I said they need to take. Probably even going to go further than that here against the Saw side. Vista buying their best of chances in their opening half. Flashes in, long control. 3 players set here. Actually, a full stack coming in eventually from Saw. Ready to see Vista full force out towards the long control, and they may well commit towards this.
You know what? This could actually work out really nicely. We've seen these guys and what they can do on ecos. They've even got an AWP of Stadodo. How much damage can they find? There are a few USPs, but that's the opening kill, and that might start to force the T-side players back.
They're pressing forward as well. Silently, slowly, but surely they are going forward. Smokes down, Deagle in from Uteri, sees Ponchek. Arky comes up with a frag back. Hades trying to respond. Roman comes up, but then they all fall apart. AWP still here. Could take down the bomb planter. Just not out of this just yet. Mino aggressive. Now back towards the longhouse. Faced up for a moment. Just turned away. And now he falls back, grabbing a smoke instead. Could suppress Mino from the longhouse. Does he know this player is here for certain? I think he does.
Yeah, the thing is, what can Mino do? Wide swing the AWP, maybe. See if you can catch him getting over aggressive. Just is getting very close to this smoke, but his times is the biggest factor here. Just needs to make sure that he's hiding for as long as possible or getting that information. And now he knows. Now he's heard the footsteps.
Molotov down, face up, just lands the kill. And that is a clutch and a half from the AWP. Big round for him, given the fact that they had basically pistols except for Stadodo with his AWP. That's a 5th to respond for Saw. And Vista falling apart. Going into round 15, it will bolster the buy for the CT side.
They're really struggling against these ecos. This is like the 5th one, Jay, we have seen in this matchup so far of eco victories. It is a ridiculous amount. There really wasn't a lot for Saw to contend with there. Yeah, they had the AWP, but it was just pistols. And they get away with another eco victory. WISLA going into round 15 with a pretty decent buy. Yeah, you've got the Mac 10 onto Ponchek. But a Krieg for Hades, AKs for the rest of them. This could be the mid to B split that we've all been hoping for the AWP. I tell you what, Sododo gets lucky to escape there.
Up in, sees Mino next, back up. Sparrow down at 26, Ponchek on 59. Mino going to burn a little bit, get that frag. Turn around for the second. Spotted by Mutris as the smoke blooms. He does get that trade, but for a 4-on-3 situation, WISLA managed to gain the map control and the man advantage. M4 here for Justice, the only thing that stands. Mutris swings in and provides support. A lucky kill, catching off the player at the right moment. 3-on-3 now. Matt and a Ponchek next knows where Just is, takes him down. Regains the advantage, but Mutris still on site. Sees Ponchek, trades it. Jedko with the bomb, being closed in upon by the CT side, but they have a line to work in a rotation back towards shore.
And they're way into the A bomb site too, but they need to make sure that the rotations are not coming through. The Krieg here for Hades needs to be able to at least get that bomb up from Jedko to the side. But the CTs, are they going to get faked out here? Do they think it could be back to B? No, they have to know. They're hearing these footsteps up from short. It's going to be an A play from WISLA.
Camera keeping their positions, of course, in check for the source side. You saw exactly where they came from, where they're coming from. One player towards short from long. Arky's going to take that facing contact. Mutris backs up from the short control, goes back towards CT. Jedka left in this 1-on-2. The retake is back on for the source side. Arky is very low HP. 11 points to his name, but he still lands the headshot. And Saw get to 6 to close out the CT side.
And what a strong recovery, Jade. To be down 1-8, to bring it back to a 6-9.5, that's actually pretty decent from the source side. And look, I think they'll be disappointed. They certainly got off to a really slow start. That one eco really sort of, or the 2 ecos they won, really started to transition into some really nice victories in the end there. Obviously, this ace coming out from Just was pretty massive. WISLA, though, off to an unexpected start, I want to say, on Dust 2. I certainly didn't expect them to get a lead going into that second half, let alone get an 8-1 scoreline at one point.
Brilliance from the CT camp, especially when they were on the ropes at several points from the WISLA squad. But again, the highlight is that scoreline favored to the Poles. The odds go back to their favor as well, as they have delivered in a fashion that our partners at Loot Bet weren't expecting. Certainly a fashion that we weren't expecting. We had them written off going into Dust 2. And now with a serious chance to bring this series back, they have to keep things going on CT side. It's pistol round for Saw on the T side start. 2 sets of utility for Stododo. And Arky with the P250 as well. Diffuse on Mino, utility for Ponchek. He's got a HE at this moment with the CZ. And they go towards the early long house, but right back over towards the mid position. May split in towards A from short and long.
Oh, Jedka, the timing could be awkward from him. He gets away with one, but no more. Gets the information forward, and now Hades falls as well. 3-on-3. Now it's a retake setup coming out for the WISLA side, but they do have a kit and a little bit of utility to work with.
And a large stack towards the short control, and Saw able to defeat it. Roman next up, have 2 players. Good headshot on Ponchek. Flash does not catch him blind, but Sparrow still peeks and gets the frag regardless. 2-on-2. P2K with nades up. Arky and Skadodo left here with the Glocks facing. Good shot on the flick back to the head. Mino knows where he is. No info on his teammate, but as Stododo peeks up, gets shut down. It's all left to Arky. No Kevlar. Facing him with a P250 and still spamming away to win the fight and win the round for Saw.
Oh, that had it all. I got to be honest, Jay, at pretty much the most parts of that pistol round, I wasn't really sure who was going to win that out. We saw some really even trades from that short position. The retake came in, went down to a 1-on-1. Mino just can't close it out in the end. Big round coming out from Saw. And continuing the momentum that they were able to find towards the late stages of that first half, bringing it in forward. A force buy from WISLA, and they've got a couple of scouts onto Hades and Sparrow.
Scouts for Stododo and Hades and Sparrow. A very heavy buy from WISLA, as you can see. All players getting Kevlar, so that's a slight positive. Smokes down from Mutris. The CT's again trying to push in towards this short control. Flashes will go over and he will make his way into that mid control. Kind of got a bit of a flank position though. WISLA could still turn this around, especially in the case of Mino, who's pushed very close with the Deagle, finding that kill on Roman, but back it up before he can get traded.
Oh, walk out from mid though. Jedka's just trying to see if he can spot anything on the edge of this smoke. This could be another big jewel to come out for the CT side, but the trade comes through. They have been able to do a little bit of HP, but Dodo finding a couple of kills. This could be the entry into B, but do they know that there's still 2 players here?
Flashbang at the ready. Making his way out. Galil set scout shot from Sparrow. Turns into a 3-on-3. Has a few more players to do with a jump face. Still trying to do some damage. Deagle back for Ponchek. Gets dealt with. The scout in the back line is still fragging though. Arky deals with him at long last, but it's a 1 versus 1. As Sparrow still gets away with that kill on Mutaris. And Mino is left alone. 3 points of health. Bomb needs to get picked up and rotated past the doors. Arky will just get past the blind fire. Planting top of the platform. That's a curious position, but it may well work out wonders for him. Again, he just needs to get that 1 shot on Mino. Mino, the same can be said with the scout play, and the Deagle now will go for the retake. Arky backed up, knowing that Mino came from CT, can probably rotate through the B doors or via window. Has allowed himself a chance to make his way back over towards this tunnel's entrance, though. Check in car, check in sight. A lot of angles to keep his eyes on. The AK wins the fight. Arky with 3. To recover that round for Saw. WISLA put all of their cards into the force buy, and in the end it comes up better for the T side.
You feel for Mino because he looked at that bomb and then straight away looked at the car position. He read it really well. Spiro did so much work. He needed Ponchek to find a kill. Spiro gets, what, 3 from the scout there towards backplat. Does so much work, but needed more assistance. And now Saw really starting to bring this back, and we've got a chance here for them to tie the scoreline up at 9-9, which kind of looked like a bit of an impossible task at one point.
Utility on Mino is the best of the buy here for the CT side. It's a full eco. Other than that, Tech9 already facing into Mutaris, seeing so many, doing damage to Jedka to start. USP is out, Dodo Roman, 2 frags to find. Deagle left in, Mutaris will take that frag, I think for his own teammate with that wallbang. Just comes up on Ponchek, Sparrow left alone, 1-on-5, PT50. Standing by to try and see if he can overrun the likes of Mutaris, take down the 1 low HP player. The bomb's made its way up, takes that contact against the scouts. Dodo was down. There's Just there with his 2K, and with 9-all to the board. Saw going to equalize against WISLA KRAKOW as the rebuy comes in. Double orb set up out immediately for Sparrow and Hades.
No messing around. They get those orbs out straight away as soon as they can afford it. Now, we didn't see Saw double orping at all on that city side. We saw sometimes Arky picking up the scout, but no double orbs came out for Saw. Hades on the glass cannon. Sparrow with a little bit of body armor. Fast out from mid from Mutaris. The swing potential is here for Mino. A lot of information being heard. Mutaris is so aggressive out from mid, but Mino's timing's perfect.
Sprays through the wall, trying to get him through that door. Eventually Monica connects that frag, seeing the pixel gap there in the mid door area. 4-on-4, and Sparrow still holds control with the orb. Can't flick onto Roman. Eventually catches him by refacing. And now looking for Dodo next up. The AK takes that contact, trying to take that kill, but walks right into the hands of Sparrow, who shuts him down. And WISLA with a 4-on-2. Bomb dropped on Catwalk. They've got full control of the round again.
He was so precious to Dodo. He realized the fact that both AWPers were out between short and mid, and he didn't really know where to peek. Oh, Jedka, this is very aggressive.
Oh, no.
I don't know. Like, why? You've got a 3-on-2 advantage. That's just over-aggression that isn't necessary. And now this actually opens up a chance for Saw to be able to close out the round. It's a 2-on-2. They can split the CTs and only deal with 1 at the A bomb site of Hades, who doesn't have any armor with this orb.
Still a HP advantage for WISLA at this moment. But again, a chance if they can just land the headshots in. The AWP facing at the right moment. Can't catch up. Oh! He almost lines up the collateral. Does damage to Justy. Saw him as well. Face up with the AK. Somehow wins the spray. And he gets a 2K, grabs the big green gun, or the big fiery gun in this case. Smoke down, set towards that cross. Going to try and fake it out. Long rotation to the B side. Surely not. He gets a second smoke instead. The M4 sits in the midst of it. Will he get body blocked? No, it won't. Ponchek will peek out before the smoke even comes close. Gets that kill and just secures the round for WISLA.
Now, if I'm Spiro, I'm being really drilled with my teammates saying, right, guys, yeah, we won out that round, but to be fair, we gave up some jewels that really weren't necessary. We see the orbs having a big amount of impact on both Sparrow and Hades in that round, but Jedka just got far too aggressive for my liking, too eager to find impact. And a force by return. Double orbs on T? Hey, Tiki-Takan's here.
Well, it's getting more popular across many different rosters. I guess Tiki-Takan was the first team to make it work, and now everyone's like, oh, I want a piece of that. I mean, Saw got a force buy, so, you know, why not go full out with the rifles? And the best rifles you can get, double orb setup. Deagles and a Galil to back it up, though, so I'm not sure about where Justin Muteris can come into play with that. Arky also the same can be said. But for now, it is just passive control up towards top mid, T-spawn into the mid control here for Saw.
Hades looking for some early contact out from short. And been a fair bit of damage done onto Hades and Mino to start the round off. Saw, though, what can they do with these orbs? You've got to think the pistols need to try and back them up. Maybe see if they can bait in an AWP kill. Oh, Muteris! Oh, tries to get very aggressive out through B.
The orbs to Dodo getting pressured in with the bullets flying his way. Will he cross? Does he want to cross? Will he try the cross? Mino swings out, gets Roman next to the 5-on-3. And grabs that AWP as well to back up, look towards seeing the Galil and getting him down as well. And again, this round falls apart for Saw. I don't know what it is about this map, but they seem to, every time they get some decent confidence in, they just get shut back by a great response, a confident response, a beautiful pick-apart round from the CT side.
And you know what? They might actually try and save, because you've got an AWP and a Deagle. Yeah, the Deagle doesn't make, like, give the most amount of impact, but the AWP is certainly a lot. This is going to look really awkward for Saw. They went for a really heavy investment with those orbs, and it hasn't paid off at all. Yeah, they've done damage. Haven't got a single kill, though. 11 on the board for WISLA. And I'll tell you what, it's good for their confidence, too, the fact that they dealt with that force buy really well, because that's really where Saw have come into their own for the most part, and Overpass and Duster, is those ecos and force buy rounds. They've looked deadly, and probably one of the first times they haven't.
Another force up from Stadodo here with his own AWP. The double ops come back from Hades and Sparrow, as you would expect. But here's the highlight of a very weird buy. Some players investing, some players not. I don't know if Saw were on the same page for this round. By all accounts, this should be an eco due to the nature of the loss bonus. The damage being done. The AWP boosted up, trying to see if he can steal one back from Sparrow, who's playing the off angle, so he won't contact onto that boost position. He suspects it might be in play, though. Past barrels and big box. And they slowly get out of position. AWP facing Stadodo. Losing the fight. Sparrow takes him down. Sees the second player also out of the gate. Backed up towards big box. Sees just picking up the mantle. Capturing the third man for the AWP. Deagle set for the contra. Not quite the ace. Ponchek just shuts it down last second. And WISLA come up with 12 to shut down Saw of their own right. But again, with the buy coming through on that last round, the money is in all sorts of broken.
I tell you what, Sparrows looks really impactful in this secondary AWP, and he's been a player that, for the most part of his career, at least in the early stages of CSGO, he was a main AWP, has sort of transitioned into that secondary AWP role once coming onto WISLA. Been here for a really long time too. One of the most experienced players in all of Polish Counter-Strike, and man, he's putting up such a stellar performance. But look at the utility out towards long. This is a fast take coming out from Saw.
Oh, here we go. Flashes in. They've got a CZ already near to the smoke. I don't think another Roman's there. No, they heard him get tagged up. Mino takes him down. SMG gets the frag. Doubles up on Stadodo as well. Incendiary's come back. Forced off. It bounces off the little roof there. Hayes against Arky. He'll take that frag in the interim. Just comes up against Mino, but he can't get Jedka next up to full. The eco dealt with, but they have let WISLA get to 13 on their CT board. This rebuy needs to come up good for Saw now.
That molly actually, like, it starts affecting his teammate in through pit. It wasn't the greatest of mollies in the world from WISLA, but look, a round's a round, and they've now got 4 in a row, I believe, for the WISLA side. They're really starting to build up some momentum. And even for Hades, you know, he's having a poor game again. Only 9 kills from him, but it's the teammates that are stepping up. Fast out from long. This is going to be another quick commitment, and Mino's going to be able to answer again with an opening frag for the CT side.
Again, the start works well for WISLA. Saw just can't seem to find a consistent way to open these rounds up. It always works better for the WISLA squad. Mino this time with the opener. On the double op setup. M4 can work just fine though. He doubles up towards the long position. Big frags to fight as they continue to work off the longhouse control.
Ooh, nade up to Roman, doing a fair bit of damage, but a 3-on-5 for Saw. How do they even bring this back? All three players are out for long. They really need to just brute force their way into taking some fights. Rumboost is going to come out with the AWP to try and get him around the corner. Just finds the opener, and that could be the opportunity into A, but they need to recover that bomb, and they need to deal with Hades on the side.
Orp in, ready for Mew to risk seeing them both cross out. Will he get overwhelmed? Will he get taken out? Will he get KL on the way back out in this position? He should be pressured pretty heavily. The spray's going manic and eventually just connects that kill. Takes some damage from that short control. Ponchek follows suit with a nade. They'll take out the bomb plant position. 3-on-2 though. Still the Molotovs come up. Roman catches Sparrow down from the CT spawn. That's a big kill to find. That's an even standing again in the post plant here. Saw have won these before. Ponchek moves up with the M4, backed up the CT. The M4 towards short has been seen now. It's all a case of Ponchek getting this backstab together, taking contact. M4 spray comes good, and Jedko gets them both. Ponchek pulling distraction, had his part to play in that round, but it's the kills for the main man on his 2K. Orps grabbed again, double Orps gets saved here for WISLA. 14 to the CT board.
And the timing on that crossfire is just fantastic. We see the AWP from Roman. Ready starts to relocate from car, didn't spot the player out from CT, and WISLA pulled two distractions simultaneously at the exact same time. That's what makes it so strong. Trying to see if they can bait out attention from Saw. 14 on the board from WISLA. Jay, I did not think there was going to be a way-in from WISLA. Yeah, when they got 8-1 up, I was thinking this looks scary, but at some point there's got to be a recovery. I don't know how you recover from this scoreline. A 5-round deficit, 2 to go to map 3 for WISLA.
Muteris, good shot from Sparrow, connecting to the hen. And Orpa Hades. They're on site, ready to receive. M4 for Mino. Up towards the top mid area, trying to wrap back towards the long house, and he could find a big old flank against it as well. Arky does trade Sparrow back, but this M4 continues to press forward, and Hades knows that he can play passive at this stage. Knowing his teammate is slowly on the way. He's stalled his aggression now, so Hades will be left alone. And Mino unable to support that. No more backup. Arky turns around for his 3K. Stadodo gets Ponchek next, and Jedka is left alone in a 1-on-4. Yes, the players are low, but he's also tagged. He's got to save his M4. Saw will deny the map point here for WISLA.
One of the best T-side gun rounds we've probably seen from Saw yet. The kills just came in so thick and fast. Great crossfires being set on the site itself. Dealing with a lot of players out from at least CT. I mean, Arky did a great job with the AWP of dealing with, I think, 2 players backstabbing. Okay. WISLA bringing this M4 forward for Jedka into the following round. An opportunity presents itself from Saw, though, to bring this comeback through. And looking at the money, it's going to have to be a few decent rounds in a row for the Portuguese side to win out, to at least try and limit the economy, because you've got to think for WISLA, there's only like 5 rounds left of this game, and we're getting to a point where, yeah, their reserves looking relatively low on some players, but then if they start losing rounds, the loss bonus is going to start chiping up.
So obviously on a big old buyback straight into the 4-round deficit they got against WISLA. And WISLA reinvesting a double up setup with their heavy loss to take to the economy basis. Flashes, smokes in, Mino seen. Muteris gets that kill, burns to 16 HP though. He gets away alive and flashes to continue catching Sparrow off guard. He's siphoned off towards the B side. They split their way in right now. This Orb will be the only defender and will have to pull off a magical play to defend this site directly. Ready against Justiface first. Good flash in, catches him. He doesn't land his shot. Reface is hoping for some damage or a kill, but forced to back away by the sheer number of players that he has to deal with. And I think from here, WISLA might call in the save.
It might as well. Like, you just call in the save. You've already lost the opening player. I don't think that was an intention from Saw to just quickly go into B, but after the basis that Muteris catches off the mid player and that there isn't any response from any CT swinging or utility, they go, right, okay, they must be at least stacking up A at long, so we've actually probably got a pretty good shout that there's only one player at B. Spiro keeps trying to take some fights out from window, but realizes, no, it's just better off if I fall back, bring these weapons into the following round. 11 on the board for Saw, not losing a single player. Great work of information, great play into that B bomb site, even the utility usage to try and draw the attention away from Spiro. He didn't know whether to look to the tunnels or through mid, he wasn't sure.
Now 3 to go. For Saw to equalize against WISLA, they are back on the warpath. All they have to do is break the backs of the economy here. It's not a difficult prospect. Just win the round, take as many rifles as you can. WISLA now investing into their tactical pauses now, taking, I believe, what is their first in this map up. Maybe their first of their CT side.
Oh, definitely the first of the matchup. Definitely. I didn't see a single... I think we saw 2 or 3 from Saw, but I don't even remember seeing a tap pause from WISLA on that first map. We might have seen 1 on Overpass, but yeah, no, this is certainly the first one on Dust 2.
What a moment to do it in as well. Double orb still in effect. A moment there to try and shut down Saw. Got to think about a lot of things going forward in this one. Of course, it won't be the end of the world if they lose this next round, but it certainly will be a big loss for them if they cannot control.
Hey, you've just got to think that maybe for WISLA, you know, winning 1 round puts them just so much further back in control once they get to 15, but it is going to be quite pressured for them. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure to be able to at least get to map point, and with the fact that they're already a map down on the series on their map pick, Saw, we've seen a lot of aggression from them out through mid in that last round in particular, a lot out from the longhouse. This is one of the slowest takes we've seen on the T-side defaults yet. They have not pushed really anywhere. They are so passive.
Muteris, AK set towards the mid control, Molotov and Flash in. Trying to look on towards the short control, he's being completely uncontested by the CT forces. I mean, the short and long split has been a common sort of standing here for the T side. The majority of face up here towards this long house. Looks like Jedka may be having his work cut out for him. Several players out and about. Isolates that first kill against Arki. Doubles up. It just takes him down. Hades at the end of the smoke though. Got the orb set. Flashbang will keep him blind. 2-for-1 trades favor the CT side. They've got a 4-on-3 advantage. And M4 and orb focus fire on their short control. Muteris could be the next casualty. Needs to find his headshot. Sees Mino first up. Gets that information out. But now his teammates have to act 25 seconds. They've got to get the bomb down to the sites.
And they're just falling back. I don't even know. They've only got a single smoke to cross chase. So there's going to be a gap on that left side, and that could be a big opportunity in for the CTs.
But the bomb crosses, though. The plant can be secured. Man advantage still. Muteris trying to change that, and indeed he succeeds, but loses a lot of his HP for it. M4 upon check. Next up, facing 15 points of health. Incendiary is coming, just backs up Hades, gets the kill, just trades back on Ponchek. 2-on-2s to Dodo, gets Hades, and Saw fighting their way out of the pit position. 1-on-1 now, Orb v Orb. Sparrow's got a quick scope, so Dodo can't land the frag, but he evades it, turns back around, gets the kill, and secures the 12th for Saw.
Oh my goodness, we saw both Orbers missing out their first shots, and in the end, Dodo's able to capitalize on it. Oh, that was looking awkward. Oh, Sparrow. Oh, that hurts. That hurts because he knows that his team, his opposition of Dodo missed his first shot. Oh, Saw. What a post plant, what a hold. And now look at the money in the reserve. It is really limited now for WISLA.
Orb set and ready down mid. Smokes up. Muteris. Lower tunnels position. Backed up behind the boxes. The flashes move over and he moves in. Got Mino here towards the mid doors. Jedka's got Arky set towards the longhouse. As soon as the smoke clears, there's going to come a case of crosshair placement. Arky's got close range positions. Jedka looks away at the wrong moment. That allows the kill. Muturis follows suit on Mino shortly after the fact. And a 5-on-3 turns the way of the T side. Roman make it well too. Hades comes up with that one frag. Muturis still here towards Xbox. M4 bursting through, but Muturis ends up with the kill.
And I tell you what, Spiro and Ponchek have got to be thinking about saving. They're the B players, Jay. They are nowhere near this A bomb side. And I tell you what, they might just give it up to Saw. There's no way they can retake a 2-on-4. Oh my. Saw really starting to bring this back now. This is going to be a fourth round on the board for the T side. This is getting a little bit ridiculous now for WISLA. They need to chime in. They've been on the front foot this entire game. But Saw have just been able to find some success almost out of nowhere.
And this is 13. Unlucky for some, not for Saw. Ponchek's got to be passive about this. If this M4 goes down, that's going to be a massive loss to the Vista economy state. And indeed it does. Up next to Sparrow, gets that frag. Oh! Burning though. Arky takes it down. All rifles wiped off the face of the Vista board. And I imagine we're seeing a half buy at best from the CT side.
That's big. That is really, really big. WISLA could have still half bought with the 2 saved in weapons. Now they've got none. It's going to be CZs, your Deagles, your P250s, maybe. They don't really want to invest too much, Jay, because you've got to think that if they don't convert round 29, they're going to have to sort of be on like a force buy for round 30. Or can they bring this back? They are 1 round from getting a tied scoreline at 14-14. Now, we've seen how much damage that Saw have been able to do on these eco rounds in the past. WISLA have kind of been on the other tail of that, not really finding too much success in rounds like this. But this is their chance. This is their chance to do as much damage as possible.
You know, with the Deagles set here towards short, got 1 player in Muturis down lower tunnels. Not accounting for this position just yet. I think one of the very few rounds we've seen Saw not take the early short control. Vera taking contact towards upper and just sees him, falls back immediately, knowing that they've got upgrade pistols, maybe wary of a force buy here. And in general, Saw are pretty passive, knowing this is a pivotal moment in this matchup if they can take this round.
They look like they're leaning over to BJ, and I'm going to get seriously worried if they do, because there's a gamble stack out here from the WISLA side. They are pulling a little bit of attention away from Spiro, but to have 3 CTs at the B bomb site when the execution comes through, this could be deadly.
DZ set, Jedka's in a rotation, especially as the kill comes in towards short. Flashes go over, Ponchek, first contact round the corner, they don't check him, just goes down, AK picked up, but he's not allowed to use it. Muturis comes up with that frag, Jedka gets a kill back of his own right, dealt with by Stadodo, P250, turning around towards window, Roman gets Sparrow down, Hades catches the backline, the bomb plant can be secured, the AK picks up as Roman gets his triple, timing it right. Damage done to the T side, that won't mean much here with the rifles set and the economy built beyond belief. 14 all, that eco for Vista will enable the double orbs to come back in once again here. We go to full 30 round distance. Who's getting to map point first?
And I was wondering whether they were going to go double orbs, Jay, because you look at the money in the reserve, there's nothing. Now, if WISLA lose this, they'll be on max round loss bonus, but it will only be 3,400 in that next round. A lot weighs on this. Taking the long control is fast out from the T side once again. Roman is not blind at all. And the CTs, they're backing off, Jay. They don't want to continue to contest.
The Molotov may be enough to open up, though. The first kill has gone the way of the CT side. Roman burning at the blue box corner as they try to establish their long presence. They'll be successful in that respect, Saw, but they lose the man advantage in another area. They've completed vacated long, though. This is the same setup that Saw were able to execute on in the past with a full long control. Straight smokes down in towards the A bomb site. And with no real resistance from WISLA to post up.
Not a lot of utility, though. They need to get the cross smokes down, and then it will only be 2 mollies to work with. Hades with the AWP. They're going to cross without the smokes, Jay! And Hades with the AWP has got free chance to find as many kills as possible. I'm not sure about that from the T's. They're able to get into the site, but it's a 2-on-4 now.
Why would you do that? That's going to cost him unless the Dodo comes up with a 1v4 clutch. He's found the first. Bombs on his back, facing it against the AWP of Hades. Needs to land his next shot. Oh, he just can't see him. He's backed up. Bomb plant will be secured on default, but now 3 hungry CTs are hunting for their 15th. Nades on the Dodo. Gets his second kill. Needs to find an equalizer. The AWPs will remain for the CT side. Will take that contact. AWP needs to scope in, ready for Hades. Sees his shoulder. Stododo, surely not. Sees the last man, though. And Sparrow will shut it down. Stododo coming up close and clutch, but to think how close they got on that round, if only they smoked the cross.
They tried something different. They tried to just wide swing it, just dry run it out to try and get to A and just hope that maybe they catch the CT sleeping off guard in CT and short, but that's not the case at all. That's a big misread coming out from Saw, a big mistake there when they had the utility to use. And that might be in the back of their minds just for a while. The Dodo almost brought that back too. 1-on-4 attempt into the 1-on-1, and you almost felt like he was going to read the player towards long, saw the headshot, but could not start to at least adjust onto Sparrow. And even look at the buy coming out from WISLA. There's a FAMAS and an MP9 out for Ponjek and Mino.
Sparrow opens it up with an AWP, though. Again, the opening frag goes the way of WISLA. Look at how quick Mutuis wants to make his way out into the long position. They've again left a passive contact. Good flashbang in. Roman's going to get caught by it as well. Smoke down, Molotov cross, and Saw going quickly into the bomb site once again. Damage being sustained in minimal amounts to this T side. Mino so close towards Goose. Jedka pops out. The Dodo takes him down, but Mino's still here as the linchpin player. May not need his backup. Sparrow is burning on shore. 26 HP. Bomb plant to be denied. Mino gets down just, looks back towards the back of the rice bags. Roman trades, Mutuis trades, keeps things at 2 versus 2. Hades adjusted against the Dodo, and now Ponjek is all that remains. MP9 swings out, gets that frag, jump faces, gets damage to Mutuis. This next kill to win the map for WISLA. For Mutuis, it's all about overtime. Faced in, damage done, 3 HP, and Ponjek clutches it. 16-14, BM is righteous as WISLA take us to map 3.
Oh, we're going to map 3, Jay. What a clutch coming out from Ponjek. That's huge. That's absolutely massive. And WISLA, look, they deserve that victory on Dust 2. They played so well for the majority of that map. We saw them go up 8-1. Yeah, they brought it back, at least for the Saw camp. But in the end, WISLA just got over the edge. Wow, Jay, what a turnaround from the first map of this series.
I'm impressed that WISLA were able to take that map break and be able to turn it around in that respect.
Yeah.
But again, to highlight some of the issues that I saw over and over past, except just to a much more sort of greater extent, there were mistakes being made by that Saw camp. The most obvious one is, of course, that no-smoke to cross. You know, if they had done that, I feel like we wouldn't be here right now. I feel like we would have probably wrapped up the series, because without those plays like that, I feel like WISLA took a lot more rounds than they were really entitled to here on Dust 2.
I think that Saw made a couple of risky plays too, rather than just playing it safe, and that's a prime example right there. The fact that they tried to wide swing dry out to A when they had the utility to work with, and look, they tried something different. They tried something unorthodox, and it hurt them. It really hurt them. They just got absolutely ripped apart for it. And for WISLA, I mean, look, hats off to those guys. To get a 16-14 victory is absolutely huge, especially with the fact that now both teams have been able to win out each other's map picks.
Indeed, they have evened up in the series, going to a third map. Nuke is up next. It is our final map of the series. We will see who's going to be eliminated here in the last place of Group D. So do not go anywhere. There's one more map between WISLA, KRAKOW, and Saw after this very short break. Welcome back to Malta Vibes. Welcome to our last map in our best of three between WISLA, KRAKOW and Saw. If you just missed the last map, it was a 16-14 brawl that just came up for the WISLA side. Finally, turning those numbers around, Dweg, somehow clawing their way out from losing their own map pick of Overpass and beating out Saw on their pick of Dust 2. Unexpected to say the least, but it is a survival round for the Poles, and looking towards Nuke, they're going to have to work even harder to convert this one to their board.
It seems like we just keep changing our predictions here. You know, we started off with a 2-1 to Saw, then it went 2-0, and now I'm going back to the 2-1.
Look, right? The reason why I say unofficially change predictions is so that, you know,
right,
based on the initial sort of first map, we can sort of keep our predictions originally together. So, you know, maybe 2-1 is still on the board here for Saw. Certainly you'd expect it, considering Nuke is by far and away their best map in the pool. They take wins against teams all the time on it, amongst WISLA's level and even higher than them.
Yeah, look, they've had some pretty convincing results. Like they played a season of advance, so certainly you're gonna have some lower tier teams. But when you look at the teams they beat, you know, you've got a Heretics, you've got a Simon, the X Smash side when they were all together, a Secret twice, a Lumina, you know, some big names in the tier 2 scenes. So at least for Saw, you know, this is a great map for them. They've got a really good T win percentage too, which is certainly going to help going forward into a map like Nuke. And look, I think for the WISLA side, again, like I don't want to talk on it too much, because obviously I don't want to put too many eyes towards it, but like what's going on with Hades? Like he's -21, only put up 19 kills for a man that has had such a high rating and such a high amount of impact. He's been really quiet today, and I'm hoping, Jay, that this third map is really where we see him.
But on the contrary, we've got Mino, who is currently the top performer for WISLA over the course of these two maps. And he's doing a decent job so far, but you can clearly see that there are some very clear disparities in the way that things have worked out, you know, especially in the death counter, where Dodo is the top fragger for his side, or his top-rated individual at the moment. And he's the guy that's, you know, not only got a better ratio, but he's also holding, you know, more presence with the AWP, which is something that the AWP player of WISLA is not necessarily doing. And as you mentioned, you know, some of those individuals, like, you know, having Mino step up to the plate and be the top guy in the server for this Polish side, it's not an encouraging sign when ideally you want to be seeing other players step up and those guys being able to do the damage.
Yeah, look, I mean, even though that Mino is the top fragger, and we can see it on the stat line, I think that Spiro really came into his own on that second map. We saw a lot of great secondary AWPing coming in from him on the City side. He was finding a hell of a lot of impact. He was finding a lot of multi-kills. So I'm really looking at the in-game leader and sort of the hybrid player of Spiro to be stepping up, especially on Nuke. I think it's going to be a tough one. We probably won't see as many AWP battles and as much AWP presence like we did on Dust 2, but it still will be prevalent. So at least for WISLA KRAKOW, look, they had a chance, okay? They lost their opening map pick. They brawled out on Dust 2. They just got a victory. They now need to convert this advantage, because for Saw, they probably should have been able to 2-0 the series already.
Yeah, I'd say so too. You know, it feels like this probably should have been over on Dust 2. You know, like again with the nature of things, but the fact that obviously WISLA stepped up to the plate, the fact that they're punishing a lot of the mistakes that Saw are making. You know, stats only tell half the story for me, and while the numbers do indicate that, you know, Saw should have been able to win that last map, in general on the server and, you know, when it comes to qualitative performance, they were making a lot of mistakes, and that is the key concern for me. The fact that they are always constantly doing these weird things, like, you know, baited in so easily or wide facing towards the cross position, which is the most obvious example I can think of, just because it may have well been the round that cost them the match overall. But things like that, you know, WISLA are now ready to punish them, and they're going to punish them every single time.
Yeah, look, I mean, one thing that is certainly difficult for a team and for players individually, that obviously you don't get sort of, you know, watching the stream and obviously casting it, is the fact that, you know, sometimes on-the-fly decisions can be really awkward. I always go with the fact that it's a bit more like a cricket reference than anything in CS, but, like, if you hesitate, you're out. And that's, like, one thing that like, obviously, in cricket is, like, a big thing, is that there's no hesitations. If someone says something, you do it. And I transition that into CS, where if your in-game leader makes a decision, if you're not committing to it 100%, it's not going to work. Even if it's the wrong call, you need to commit with it, because that's giving yourself the best chance. And look, yeah, you can maybe say it was a bit of a mistake, wide swinging out towards that A bomb site without a smoke, but that was the call that was made. And sometimes on the fly, it doesn't quite work. Saw need to really come into their own, come into this third map and say, yeah, look, we probably should have been able to 2-0, but now this is our chance to really start to be able to put the hurt on. We need to come into Nuke, and we need to be able to perform.
And this is the map to perform on. Again, it is one of the best for Saw in the pool. Not the same can be said for the WISLA side, who have taken a number of losses over the past few months. Obviously, they've had a couple of surprise performances, managing to beat out the likes of, or get close against the likes of North, but their losses against Spirit and Skade and Big Academy and Aves and AGF in the past have definitely hampered their opportunities, I think, over on this map. And, any team that loses to Honoris is always a team that I take a look at thinking, listen, right, there's something wrong with that map in that pool, and definitely there's something wrong in that map in that pool. Hate to be that guy, but let's be real here. Like,
mate, it's just like every now and then, like for like a minute on the broadcast, you just rip in. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it.
I find it fun. I just don't want to overdo it, to be honest. But
yeah,
no,
that's
but
fair.
The point still stands, right? You consider the teams that they're playing against, the teams that they're losing to, and there are some cases where you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Other cases where it's like, okay, that's a little bit harsh, and their win percentage is low as a result of it. Their quality performance is just not right there. It feels to me like this should be a sore victory right here, and I'm still sticking with my 2-1 prediction.
Yeah, look, I'm with you there. I think that there's a lot of advantages going into Nuke. I think that WISLA made a big mistake by not banning this out in the early process, or at least towards the second ban. So I think it's kind of on them if they lose this of just not getting rid of this map. I think that often there's two ways of looking at a veto, right? You can often try and get rid of your opponent's weaknesses or try and get rid of your weaknesses. And I think going into this veto, WISLA have tried to get rid of their own weaknesses rather than their opposition. And that's how Nukes come in as a third map. So look, for Saw, there's a lot of advantages going their way. There's a lot of tick marks. But for WISLA, it just comes down to, can they show up on this third map of the series like they did on Dust 2?
And that is the key thing, right? I mean, for a team that to come in and perform on something like Nuke, like that's a whole different beast. Performing on Dust 2 is easy because you can just out aim and you can win off the back of that. Nuke is a map that requires strategy, tactics, and preparation to go into. And you've got a team that are confident on that map, they're going to be set and ready to take you down. So for WISLA, they better have something in the playbook to try and find a way to work into this one. So for me, it feels like a lot less of an opportunity for them. And while that will be a factor, whether they're performing here in this final map, I don't think it will be the deciding factor,
Yeah, look, and I suppose you can give them a little bit of credit. They actually looked pretty decent against Sprout in the earlier best of one. They put up 9 rounds against sort of the German, Polish kind of team, and they looked okay. They looked pretty decent on it, so I think they can put up a pretty decent fight. I'm expecting they get to double digits, but again, to win out the map, I think it's going to be a really tough one. In saying that, though, there is the point that we actually haven't seen a Nuke game in 6 weeks, and we haven't really seen any maps played for this Source side in 6 weeks because they have been on the player break. So there could have been an opportunity where, in fact, they're working on other maps in the map pool rather than Nuke, and I think that might show in sort of the early stages of this third map. Is it's right. Are the results that we've seen in the past continuing, or is it the fact that they've started focusing their attention on other maps in the map pool?
Well, based on Overpass and based on how close Dust 2 got, you would assume that it would be more of the former than the latter.
Yeah.
There's always been something about Sword to consider, is the fact that, they're coming in off the back of the player break. They haven't competed in many maps here. But for the most part, I feel like they haven't really missed much of a beat, especially comparing their performances to the first week. Like, their results over on the group stage were still a little bit close at certain points, even though they were able to win out in the winners matchup in that particular group stage. And, their best of 3 performances, they were against some pretty tough teams like Alternate Attacks and Nordavind, all of which went to double digits, by the way.
Yeah.
So they've already had they've already had like a bit of a rough road to get to that semi-final performance in week 1. So for me, it feels very similar to how that whole thing has worked out. Yes, they are getting the victories on the board. Yes, they're getting the maps together, but it's not quite been the easiest, smoothest of roads,
And for the majority of the tier 2 teams who've been playing in Malta Vibes, everyone basically, no one's really taken time off the player break. The only teams that I can think of is your Sparta and probably your Heretics. Outside of those teams, and including Saw, no one else has been taking the player break off. I think Skade may have taken a little bit of time off, but sort of like outside of them, like hardly all of the tier 2 teams, they were trying to play as much as possible. Maybe you can throw Endpoint in there too. I think they had like a bit of a player break, and it certainly showed, at least for a Sparta in a couple of the weeks that they played in the Malta Vibes, that they had a few slow starts sort of trying to get warmed up. But at least for Sword, they've come into this week and they're not looking slow at all. They're looking really well drilled, really well performed, and on fire to try and be able to take this series.
Well, let's talk win conditions for WISLA, obviously, because we're definitely favouring the source side in this map. But obviously, we mentioned in Dust 2 is like how they're going to dig themselves out of this hole. Well, I want to ask a similar sort of question, because we are definitely all aboard the Saw camp in this one. What do WISLA need to do in order to beat them on this map?
Look, I think one thing is they certainly need to be looking confident, you know, whether it's wide swinging duels, whether it's getting very aggressive on that CT side. I just want to see a lot more confidence from them. I felt like on Overpass, especially on the T side, they were really pressured in making a lot of decisions. So going into Nuke, I want to see them playing maybe a little bit more free, a little bit more loose rather than the structured style we see from them. See if they can maybe take some opening duels, try and get the AWP looking to find a lot of impact, which Dodo was doing quite a lot in Dust 2. And just try and build as many rounds up on CT. I think if they can get away with maybe 9 or 10 rounds on CT, they'll open themselves up for a really good opportunity on the T side. But look, if they start T, if they lose Knife and start T, it's going to be a tough time for them.
Well, I mean, on the contrary, you could have a good T side, or at least be able to hold a decent T side. You know, like 9-6 is obviously acceptable, and 10-5 is also acceptable for T side at the moment here with the current balance of nukes. So, you know, I'm expecting there to be a certain level of. I'm expecting there to be a certain level of, you know, potential in terms of that respect. But I'll be curious to see whether or not they actually do start on T side. So hopefully we'll be ready to get into the matchup in a moment's time. We had one player over on the WISLA side who had a small authentication error, so I had to get that sorted out before we get back into the game. So hopefully it's ready to go live on this one, Dwight. I'm being told that it is, so with any luck we'll be able to just start in the next couple of moments. But I want to get your closing thoughts on this one. How do you feel like Nuke's going to go?
Yeah, look, I certainly think that at least for Saw, we'll probably see a lot of upper takes and some vent dives. I think they're a team, at least from what I've seen from them on Nuke, they don't really like to slow it down all too often. Now, the current meta, I think in Nuke, especially in Tier 2 teams, is like try and get outside control, get into Garage, get into Hell, and really start to slow it down. Saw are kind of like anti that. They're a lot more aggressive. They're a lot quicker. So I'm expecting a lot more of a faster T side coming out from Saw. Maybe a handful of slow rounds, but for the most part, you know, some quick upper takes, some maybe just dry runs into the vent dive, trying to see if they can establish some ramp control. So yeah, that's kind of the way I look at how Saw playing on the T side. I'm not expecting the double orbs to come out from either side on CT. Both teams don't really play it on Nuke. Again, most teams don't really. And maybe just some AUGs and some Kriegs outside. We certainly saw, at least for Hades, running the Krieg a little bit. I think we saw some AUGs coming out in Dust too. So maybe some scoped weapons outside too for both teams.
Well, the knife round's coming up to play, so we get to decide the choice of side and see who's going to start off on that all-important CT half. So I'm reminding you all, the Malta Vibes is brought to Gaming Malta, your home of gaming excellence. Dweg, this one is going to be the final map of our best of 3, and one that will certainly look to get quite interesting and decisive as well. Will WISLA be able to return off their impressive performance in Dust 2 and come up with a good show today? They need this knife to start things off on CT. It will go the way of Saw in this one, so they get their choice of side, and I imagine they will switch to CT side.
That would make the most amount of sense. See if they can get on CT, build up some rounds. And for WISLA, again, you know, I'm really focusing on Hades, only putting up 43.9 ADR across the last 2 maps. This is really his time to shine, and you've got to think for WISLA as well. You know, they're struggling without him. You can see in terms of the impact, in terms of opening kills and opening advantages, that's where they struggled the most. So, look, see if you can get Hades started to fire up, maybe get him even T-side AWPing. And while we have a look at the odds over at Loopet, that's actually a lot closer than what I thought it would be, Jay. 1.8 up for the Saw side and 1.91 up for WISLA KRAKOW. Odds changing a little bit, but still in favor of the Saw side. So if you do want to get involved in those odds, you can check out our fantastic betting partner of Loopet. All the information is underneath the Twitch channel in the banners below. 10 free CSGO spins and up to 100 euros bonus on your deposit. Jay, we're jumping into the pistol round with a fair bit of utility coming up from WISLA, looking to go fast into the A-bomb side.
It's all been used early. Ponchek opens things up. First blood in this map drawn by the T side. Roman falls. Arky still here towards the B site. Dealt with quickly by Sparrows. Mutuous falls elsewhere. Just trying to get the trades together to a 2-on-2 and be good on that respect. But as the Dodo goes down, he's all that remains. No kit, no utility. He's got to take these faces. Lands that headshot on the first man. Couldn't quite take down the second. Heard Ponchek drop out. But Ponchek gets the second kill anyway. So WISLA with a nice opening start on T side, taking the pistol round.
And I was more so expecting the aggression to come out from Saw on the T side. That was incredibly quick from WISLA, putting the utility to that upper bomb site, going straight in for the vent dive, getting that bomb plant in pretty much straight away as soon as they get the positional advantage. There's some great trades coming back for the T side. And in the end, Ponchek winning out a big clutch. WISLA starting off on the right foot on the T side, but they will have to deal with the force spider come out from Saw. This is looking to be quick again from the T's.
Down the vent dive, Muturis heard it. The Deagle facing forward, hoping to catch a frag or two. Backs up out of Squeaky. His secret is taken by the WISLA side very quickly. Downstairs into the hallways. The Dodo is already ready to receive. Got a back up there in the SMG. The MP9 have just smoked down towards observation. Double doors is open. Ups the Dodo. Trying to find an off angle to work with his teammates. Play contact here towards the ramp entrances. Arky is already tagged pretty low. And time is plentiful for WISLA. They can slow things down.
You know what? There's a chance for them to go back up through the vents to the upper bomb site. Look how many rotations have come in from the city side. There's 4 players now towards his lower bomb side. I wonder whether WISLA are going to start to read that they're going to be running into a stack because they've slowed it down so far. You've got Justin towards that dark position, 2 players out from ramp, and Stododo around this top rafters.
Deagle trying to face forward, shots ringing out from the CT camp. Time is ticking low. Still got one final smoke to use to siphon off the observation room, so Jedka just can't find the entries. WISLA are going to have to wait till very low if they want this smoke to clear up, or they can execute through the double doors here. The crossfires are set, footsteps are being heard. Is there a rotation on the way? No, there's not. Flashes over.
Yeah, there is.
Holding contact. No, they're going to go back up the vents area. Is there anyone on the A side to defend against it? I don't think there is. Arky there with a scout, but they're planting open for Mini. So WISLA will sneak the bomb plant in.
Oh, they just get there. They really run down the clock. They actually open up double doors to try and sell the fake that it is going to be lower. Fast up through the vents, pulling out so many rotations. 5-on-5 retake. Saw not even going for it, Jay. They're just going to back off and save.
Have no choice. Getting out of dodge here. At least holding the extra weapons into the next rifle, or next eco round, I should be more specific. Therefore, they have, you know, the scouts, the Deagles, the SMGs, and everything that will stay in play. Try and have some sort of impact against the weapons in from the WISLA squad. I mean, there's still possibilities for kills. If they can do that, that would be a pretty decent positive here for the Source side.
So far, pretty aggressive from WISLA. They really started to slow it down, though, once they got at least some control to that lower bomb site. But it's been fast. We've seen a couple of vent dives in a row now, some outside presence in that last round. And so for Saw, they've got to think, right, do we want to maybe stack up upper? Do we want to get a little bit more aggressive on the CT side? Now, with 5 players staying alive for Saw, just not even opting to go for the retake, they don't have to invest anything going forward. Just hold on to the exact same weapons.
AK's in, Galil's out, Mac-10 Vermino. The T's ready to face forward, Muturis with the Deagle. Very carefully placed here from WISLA, knowing that Saw have all this weaponry still to work with. They do not want to give up a single frag if they can help it.
Oh, good shot coming out from Stododo to start the round off, but Hades is going to find a couple in the response, and that can now start to open up the upper bomb site take.
Yeah, at this point, it's 2 versus 4. The Deagles are Muturis and Roman here to try and isolate and siphon off one player in the back line here. A Squeakeeper Mino will swing in from Mini to deal with Muturis, and Roman will eventually fall down. 3-0 start for WISLA. Saw getting the value out of those weapons, though. The 4-buy can come through, but the money has started to flourish here for WISLA.
It's starting to look pretty good on this T side, especially if they keep these Mac-10s, Jay, which you would pretty much expect that Spiro and Mino can keep hold of them, keep it as a bit of a bonus round. No point really upgrading to 2 AKs to at least get a bit of a stronger buy going forward and wreck the economy. Only a single player with head Kevlar's the Dodo, so those Mac-10s can still do a hell of a lot of damage. This is very fast utility, again, outside and into the vent dive, but they don't quite commit with it yet. Finally, Mino goes down.
Roman held back in the back line, seeing nothing coming out of the smokes. I think they're probably going to have an inkling that there's a player that dropped down through the vents area. Arky is already there on site to receive them into the observation room. Smokes up. Trying to cut them down. Arky held towards the top of Silo, drop in. Oh, not quite seeing Hades. Next needs to return back. Do damage to Jedka. He drops very low indeed. The AWP is Dodo there to support the entire defensive.
Now, this could be a very similar play that we saw in the pistol, Jay. The fact that they could pull rotations to that lower bomb site and go back up through upper if they want. A good kill coming out from Stododo, and I think he dropped that bomb, so that would have given them even more information on their CT side.
First of all, it's Jedka. One of the rifles going down and everything. Khalil will get re-picked up by Sparrow as Hades. The AK that Jedka had brought into this round. 40 seconds to the clock. M4 up in rafters. Mutarist with the flash at the ready. Trying to get outside towards the locker rooms and actually going to get upstairs towards the heaven area instead. Arky still waiting for contact, knowing that decon door was opened up, closes it again. Gonna look for information. Mino swings out, sees in towards the back corner, does a lot of damage. The Molotov and the Galil will face forward, trade it back to a 4-on-4. The AWP can't land his shot as well, and the T's turn the disadvantage around.
Oh, I tell you what, this has to be a save from Saw. There's no way they can retake this lower bomb site. And for WISLA, they're just playing so many mind games on this T side. They really slow it down towards lower. They start to make a bit of movement, a bit of noise outside. And then Saw think, hang on a minute, is it going to be an upper play? So they put 3 players to the A and then just 2 out towards lower. And as soon as Arky's been seen, the Molotov comes in, the swing from 2 players, dealing with the ramp players to Dodo too. Wow, this has been an exceptional T-side so far from WISLA. They're looking really drilled. They're looking very aggressive in the early round, and then that's when they slow it down. And Saw just don't know what's happening with these rotations. They've got no information of what's going on this T-side.
Well, WISLA coming up good in the early game. Of course, it's not decisive as of right now, but with the way things have played out, and the way things went down on Dust 2 especially, and this could be an opportunity for WISLA to really drive an opportunity at an upset in this best of 3 against the likes of Saw. M4's up, Roman taking a lot of damage early on in this round. Mino will take some to return, 54 points of HP on him versus 42 of Roman. AK set, AWP, M4s, WISLA suppressed towards the lobby position, but they've gotten away with quite a decent start here.
Seeing if they can bait out as much util as possible on that city side is something that the T's have been able to do a pretty good job at so far in the majority of these rounds on T. Jedka making a little bit of movement out towards Hut, seeing if he can just find some sort of opening entry. No one from Saw is actually looking to try and take any fights. They're being really passive, especially to this A bomb site. A WISLA, outside smoke's coming through, but there's only a couple of players trying to work outside.
50 seconds to the clock. Outside wrap around in towards Mini, just feeling the burn. And eventually getting taken out by Sparrow, doubling up against Roman. Mutarist and Arky can try and back in. Mutarist still held towards heaven as Arky continues to trade against Pontrix. The Dodo is going to go down. The 2-on-2 scenario. The bomb can make its way down to the vents into the B bomb site. There's no one there to defend it for Saw. Rotations coming in. Retake is on.
2-on-2. This is probably one of the best shouts yet that Saw can actually retake this bomb site. Oh, Hades, though, tries to go to decontamination, but doesn't realize the fact that Muteris is in the back line. Jedka's now coming in from ramp, and you'd think they would have been able to hear that drop in the smoke, or at least around it. Now into a one-on-one. Arky can just try and start and tick this bomb, but now the smoke's gone, Jay.
Up, AK contact facing. Jedka sees one, takes damage. The flashbangs continue over. As they set the defuse here. Jedka, all right, on it. No way in.
Oh!
He gets the kill, but way too late. Arky just holds the control, just holds the round for Saw.
I thought there was no way that defuse was going to come through. It looked like Jedka had played that like a book. What? Like... he baited him off so many times. Oh, Jay, I can't believe they got the defuse. That was pretty unexpected.
That was last-second stuff. Absolute last-second stuff coming in from the Saw side. Incendiary set, utility down, flashes over. As the defense realizes they're on the back foot once again, there's still 2 SMGs on this buy-up. Saw may have got away with the round, but they lost so much in doing so.
Yeah, they really did. WISLA trying to put some hurt on the city side of the economy. Outside control, Muteris out towards that credit card position, and I tell you what, he's in a really awkward position now because he can't really fall back without any support. Mino got a bit of an angle to work with, and for WISLA, they're putting a lot of pressure outside into CT's making moves.
Sparrow with that frag, SMG of Roman trades it back to a 4-on-4. He's on 4 HP though. Must have got that rifle, but in the end, Ponchek will take him down. Wallbang kill coming through. Flashes from Sparrow, going to try and force the issue on the player back at Hell. Stadodo getting up towards Heaven as an M4 takes face out here towards Secret. Hades could not land the kill. Overcooks the flick, he falls back. CT's going to hold their defensive. Stadodo does get a trade, but Ponchek keeps them out of advantage for WISLA. Saw just can't get away with anything here as Hades gets Stadodo down. It's now a 1v3 for Arky, probably locked out of the round from here.
You'd certainly think so. Sparrow going to be swinging out with a Gork to finish off Arky out of all things. 5-1 lead. Another eco has to come through from Saw. What's going on, Jay? Like, it seems like no matter what research you do, what demos you watch, like what information, anything, it just does not translate in this matchup. We've seen, you know, both teams winning out each other's map picks. WISLA have got a pretty horrendous track record on Nuke, especially on the T side, and they're up 5-1, looking to go 6-1 up.
And again, shock of a start. It's very comparable to the way Dust 2 started for Vista as well.
Yeah.
T-side and everything of Nuke. I guess Saw better hope that the T-side meta is going to help them going into their own second half, but Arky falling to Mino first. Sees it, Roman gets that one frag. Mino can trade it back. Deagle's set, 2 for 1. Bomb site under their control. Mutris needs this frag, missing his head against Mino. So, Dododo next up. Mino's seen him. 3 kills so far in this one. He's also low HP, so he's going to back up a little bit. The Deagle can't take the frag as a result. And this should be 6 for the WISLA KRAKOW side.
Doing a fair bit of damage. Get away with a couple of kills, but no more than that. Jedcut being able to find the last couple. And so far, at least for WISLA, you know, there's not exactly a top performer on this third and final map. It seems pretty even in terms of the kill distribution. 6-1. And again, you've just got to think for Saw, maybe just a bit of a change up. We haven't really seen any aggression from them. They haven't pushed lobby from Hut or Squeaky. They haven't pushed out from ramp. There's been no aggression outside. It seems like for Saw, it's just over and over again. They haven't really changed too much up on this CT defense.
Sparrow and Jedka taking early tag damage here for the WISLA side. And finally Saw get away with some sort of advantage. It's no kill. But at the very least, it is going to be going to work off of potentially some frags later down the road in this one. Roman takes some damage to return, but it's incomparable to Sparrow and Jedka's numbers here.
Hades is outside towards T-Red. And Muteris having a tough time dealing with this back blue position outside. It constantly being dealt with from Sparrow in particular. Now they know where the AWP is. There is a bit of information on that city side of what's going on for the Ts. Are they going to try and cross into Secret? There is no smokes here for the Ts.
And still they get away and get past alive. Damage has been sustained even more so against Mino, Jedka, and Sparrow. Hades taking a bit of damage of his own right. So again, Saw gaining potential for these kills, but none of them are coming through at this stage. 30 seconds, Vista will be at the disadvantage when it comes to the execution here. Sparrow's made his way towards observation though, and they wrap back upstairs. They're going towards the A site place. Sparrow might make some noise, open up the windows. Will that force a rotation? It will see the AWP back here. And he's trying to get away now as Vista make their way upstairs. Roman in the corner. Mina's got to check it. The kill comes through. Jedka gets the frag back. The bomb on his back needs to get to the site and plant right now.
Oh.
Just dealt with by Sparrow. Swing back upstairs into the A site, gets himself a double, and from here the round falls apart for Saw.
Oh man, Sparrow, like that's just, it's so well played. The fact that he's able to draw the attention lower, gets a couple of kills, and just forces one of the rotators to go down. That's huge coming out from Sparrow. And what is huge as well, Jay, is a couple of codes from our fantastic case partners of hellcase.com, MaltaV and MaltaV15, to open up some sick cases and get some sick skins, a little bit of money in your account, and a 15% refill bonus. I believe, Jay, there's a case called Killjoy. Isn't that like a Valorant reference or something? I'm not sure if it is. I've just heard the name.
It sounds like it is. Hold on, I might have to do some quick research on this one.
Yeah, no, I saw it just before on the Hellcase website, like one of the custom cases, I believe. Because like, I think you can make your own cases and name them. And what Killjoy is a person, isn't it, in the game, or
Killjoy is one of the agents that was recently added about a month ago. I honestly, like, it's been so new and she's been so underutilized. I kind of forgot about it. bad thing to say for an up and coming potential Valorant caster, am I right, boys? Rip to my career. It's okay. I have CS:GO.
Exactly. That's where it's at.
CT side. This is a half buy for Saw. WISLA should clean them up here once again and set themselves up for another 8-1 scoreline. Again, exactly how things played out on Dust 2, Dwayne. Like, the similarities are shocking me here.
It really is kind of weird how we're saying pretty much the exact same thing. And what was it? It was 6-1 for Saw on Overpass to start off, then an 8-1 coming out from WISLA on Dust 2. 8-1 again is a potential. You see mid-terrace in the vent, seeing if he can get a knife kill or anything. Outside presence coming through. The Deagles have been able to do a lot of damage in the past. They've done a bit of HP damage onto Sparrow, but no opening kill has been found from Saw.
Ooh, just with the Deagle on pod check. One kill back for this half by an AK picked up for Just as well. Had quite a lot of impact here as the lone player on this Source side with the AKs in previous maps. Now got to do the same thing right here. Here on Nuke, Arky with that frag on Mino. That's a man advantage gain. Map control to wrap back over. And the teams make their way downstairs into Secret now.
No one's here towards lower. Yeah, you've got some ramp players that can be quick rotators, but there's actually no one on the site itself. When does Saw realize this is the fact? Just coming in from ramp. Oh, he even takes down Sparrow. Oh, he follows up with another kill. Drops that bomb. Can he get even more? Of course he can. 4 kills in the round. We saw the ace coming out from Just in the last map. 4 kills on an eco. They've done it again, Jay.
Just is just brilliant. You've got to love him. Incredible stuff being posted up there by him. It's, again, remember, he had a Deagle to start this round off, got a 4K, especially with 3 on the AK-47. Isolating those 1v1s and finally finding an opening or a follow-up round here from Saw. Second to the CT board. WISLA back in with their own AK by no AWPs this time, no need for them. Winning out with the AKs every single day if they must. Orb set for Stododo, meanwhile, on the CT camp, and they found a way in. But can they follow suit with a follow-up? That's been the main issue for Saw in a lot of these cases. WISLA were able to get to 9 up as a result of a lack of a follow-up round. Hit will come through from the poles here. Spray with that opener on Nutrish just goes down. Robert will catch one player off. Got 2 more on the side to deal with. Could not line up that spray. And that's a 4-on-2 advantage. No! Archie comes in from the back line, gets that 1 frag, but can't hold on against Jedka. Sparrow deals with Stododo towards outside. And that's round 8 for WISLA.
And they just got rushed. That's really what it comes down to. They lose the eco, and then WISLA go, right, we're just going to run into the upper bomb site and just get some great entries out from Hut. Yeah, the squeaky entrance is kind of denied, at least from Roman, at least for a little bit of time, then gets traded. And from there, they deny the bomb, but really don't have an answer back into the round. 8-2. This is getting very, very worrying. And you've got to think of Saw, like, as soon as they win that eco, that's your chance to really start to break momentum and start to answer back in the game. That's not the case at all. They've got the AWP onto Stododo, and aggression coming out from Hart. First time we've really seen aggression, and it's just dealt with immediately.
Spawns back from Stododo, though. The AWP in for this one. Mino can take out Roman, so again, the man advantage tips to the favor of WISLA. Mino on 32 points of health. Jedka his way outside as the AWP looks on, but can't quite lock onto a decent frag at this stage. Smokes up the siphon off. WISLA can go past it because they know that they got the advantage, and eventually Saw's got to try and force the issue to gain that 3-on-3 scenario. Hades will press forward towards B site, gets Stododo down. and the bomb plant is in.
You've got to think they might even be thinking about their save at this point, Jay. Now the fact they've been able to pick up a weapon 2 on 3, do they really want to try and go for this with how low the reserve is? It looks like they are going to set themselves up for the retake. Muteris and Arky seeing if they can get it going. Now they do have a smoke to potentially try and see if they can get on the bomb itself. Muteris coming out for decontamination, being seen from the ramp players. Molly's going to come out and buy themselves a little bit of space, and the bomb's being stuck, Jay. Can they get Arky off it? Can they get him off it? He's still sticking the bomb! It's another defuse coming out from Saw towards his lower bomb side, and WISLA just keep letting them have it.
That's another ninja for Arky. If I recall correctly, he was the guy that snuck it in a few rounds ago.
Oh.
WISLA thought they were safe. They fought wrong. And again, that's a way in for Saw. Is that going to be their chance now? Will they be able to finally turn a conversion? I mean, they've got AKs up against them here, so it's unlikely once again with their FAMASas in check. Look at the T side set early towards the defaults. The AWP looking for their first pick towards the ramp room. It's Roman on towards Squeak Door. Nades up, trying to deny something back here. Smokes in, Hades finds that open, looks towards the Dodo next up. M4 facing against the flashbang, sees 2 players, they peek together, they take him down together. And Saw, well, their best bet right now is to go for yet another ninja defuse because this 5 on 3, well, Muteris can find a trade, but it's traded so quickly.
And you know what's the worst factor, Jay? Is that, you know, you can kind of keep talking about the ninja defusers, but the fact is that Saw have won 2 out of the 3 rounds off the back of ninja defusers alone. Just actually tries to bring this 12th round back, but now with Roman in a 1-on-2, he's out towards Secret. WISLA can just bring their men to the upper bomb site, get that bomb planted. This would be another big clutch to come out from Saw. He can stick it?
Doesn't know that yet. He's hoping that Ponchek comes from the same angle. Checks out Hut, looks on to the main position. That an AK dropped at his feet? Yes, it is. He still wants to stick with the FAMAS, though. No, so it's at the AK, but peeks him at the wrong moment. The timing was awful. And that will be a 9th for WISLA. Saw so close, and yet so far still.
It just doesn't expect the Heaven play. I mean, the bomb plan came in so quickly that you would expect that he's got to be maybe like back vent, Hut, Squeaky. But instead, he's out towards Heaven. It's just the one position they don't expect at all. Saw having a really rough time on their CT side, not finding it easy whatsoever. And WISLA are just clawing these rounds on T. And you've got to think, the more rounds they get, the easier time they're going to have going into that second half.
And I mean, surprisingly so as well. Just, I mean, like, consider this is one of their best maps in the pool, and WISLA are 9-3 up against them on it. Digs up for Muteris, Roman can't get Sparrow. And at least they find the opening kill, but they've left B site open. The bomb plant can be secured from here. It will go down towards the back line, so retake up for the CT side.
How much damage can they do? They've got the man advantage pushing through the smokes. The Dodo's going to fall. And furthermore, utility comes through. It's the flames. It's doing so much damage. Saw are probably in a position now where they can't retake any further. And pressed up aggressive for the T side, looking for their 10th round. And you'd have to expect it's going to come through. Pushing out from ramp. This round's done. This round's absolutely finished. 1 kill goes the way of that CT side. That's it. Muteris, last one left with the Deagle, 5 HP. And he's even getting hunted. 10 on the board for WISLA. Again, against the best map in the map pool for the Saw side. That's what's the biggest surprise, Jay.
Ten to 3. The buyback here from Saw in this 14th round is very harsh. Look at the M4 though. He's caught Sparrow with an awkward spray, but she comes up with that kill. Dodo gets Mino next, doubles up on Ponchek. And finally, something looks to go well for the CT side, but Hades has B-side access. A bomb plant can come through for him.
Oh, but the ramp player could swing here from Arky. This could be the perfect timing. Should be an easy kill, and it is. Start it off very nicely from Saw, and that's something where I think they've struggled with the most on the CT side, Jay, is not finding that early impact. We saw a great couple of opening kills coming through, and from there, Hades realizes, right, 1 on 3, I'm just going to dive straight into the vents, get this bomb down to the lower bomb site. I mean, the economy game doesn't mean a lot, at least for the T side. But Saw, that was probably one of the best rounds we've seen from them yet, Jay.
On the T side. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Is that a stop call? No, it's not.
Let's keep going.
Rush tactics. Here comes Ponchek straight out the gate, down through the vents area. The AK making its way in, spray through, and Ponchek immediately just gets towards the bomb site here with the AK. Drive-by shot. Bomb plant can be secured. 5 on 4 for the T side.
Oh, what was that from Ponchek? A great opening coming up, but now the kills are starting to come in from the CT side. They're thick and fast on the retake. They've already taken this ramp control and a man advantage to work with. 11 HP for Ponchek. AK of Roman. Jedka gets that frag.
3v3 now. Next up, backline here towards start. Ponchek on 11 HP. All utility being thrown. They have not checked his position. Stododo gets Mino. No one checks it. No one checks it. The spray lines up. He gets that one. Jedka close towards the bomb, ready for the knife kill. Why are you going for this? Ponchek gets the frag back, and Mewtwo sticking the bomb. Jedka, don't fall around the way. But he just gets it in time to get 11 for WISLA. The risks being taken by these T sides are just way too unnecessary.
By heart, Jay. It just skipped a beat there. Oh, man, that was so down to the wire. Can you imagine if that would have been the third ninja defuse to come out from Saw and a half? Wow, what a stance to come out from WISLA on the T side. 11-4 up. I'm scared to look at the odds, Jay. Oh, I don't want to look. It hurts my eyes.
Saw better have a baller T side coming out here. Like, I don't know how they lost this bad on CT side. Things have gone terribly wrong. Terribly, terribly wrong. And WISLA are looking real good right now. What a performance from this Polish side. They just have to get a few more rounds to close it out, take the win, stay alive in the group stage. And look on to the next hurdle challenge. It's Hades opening up here for the CT pistol. Good kill on Roman. Just will trade back on towards him. No, Sparrow still set here towards the Hell entrance in the ramp room area. Hearing footsteps all around him, but can't quite find the frags at this moment here. Just close, P2K, up for the headshot, gets that kill.
No, that's big. Arky. Oh, the CZ in the back line from Ponchek somehow finds that kill. And that's all down to Muteris and Stododo. They can secure a bomb plant, Jay, but Stododo, no, they're going to go back to upper.
Last second decision. Muteris goes down. All left to Stododo, backed up here into the hut position. Sees Mino, taps burst through, gets that frag. Glock to reload, backed up over the position. Dropping in, Ponchek makes his way in, misses with a spray though. Throw out and about, gets that kill in the end, forced a wide face, and that will be a 12th for the WISLA pistol round going their way.
And you'd have to expect a force buy coming out from the Saw guys, whether they go for the hero AK strategy or they just force the Galils. They have to really buy here after getting the opportunity of getting a bomb plant. They can't really afford to eco. Yeah, and there it is, AK up for Stododo being dropped over. No, he bought himself actually. A couple of Galils to work with. And you've just got to think that that is certainly not an answer back in to allow a comeback losing the pistol. Both pistol rounds on Nuke going the way of WISLA KRAKOW.
Saw bomb plant secured, so buyback can come through with the AKs and Galils, but they need a desperate sort of way in. Just drops bomb already in CT control. Mino looks for Roman. Next, Roman will get that trade. And bomb to the bomb site. Smokes go down. Roman looking to face Inchbera back lower in the tunnels down towards the decontamination door. What will he find from here? What will he be able to hold in the defense for the WISLA side?
He's got to make a choice. Does he swing out once the bomb plant goes down or before? And look at the damage done onto Stodo and Roman. But that's a big kill from Muteris, and that might pull some attention back to the A-bomb side.
Scout shot does connect eventually from Hades. 3-on-3. Muteris downs the Dodo. Oh, gets the kill back to return. The 3-on-2 with the face up, 36 points of health up there towards heaven. Arky is going to have that information, and now they know they can get a safe plant in. M4 from Mars. Left for the retake, caught off guard. Sparrow left, the last man standing. Got to find his way in from heaven because he's got no time to rotate from lobby or mini. Hearing the footsteps, might catch off Arky for a frag, but the Galil just going around the hole here, just making sure that no one can make their way through. Sparrow is going to back up here towards the locker rooms, save his weapon. They will concede 5 back to the T side though.
WISLA holding on to this M4 after force going forward. Very, very important that Sparrow holds on to this. Oh, could get an AK. Or was that a Galil from Arky?
I think it was a Galil.
It was a Galil, okay. So we'll have the M4 instead.
Scout M4 SMG in for the WISLA force back. Still being able to try and get in against the rifles here. Jenker and Sparrow cross-firing towards the grill position. Deagle firing away downrange. Sparrow. M4, the only M4 in play for the CT camp, so this should be, on paper, a round for Saw, but we've seen many a great Deagle round from WISLA so far in this series, so don't count them out just yet here.
Now, don't count any of these forced by eco rounds out. We've certainly seen what they could do in Malta vibes. I saw a lot slower on this T side in comparison to what WISLA were for the majority of rounds. Now, Mino got to make a decision whether he wants to fight or try and fall back. He's in a really awkward position, but Sparrow's going to back him up, and that's the opening kill being found on the CT side.
When does he rotate? Ponchek here with the SMG. Close range. Gets Muteris, continue to spray it back. The bomb's been committed far forward again. Saw constantly making mistakes out here. Scout out for Hades. Burst back. Oh, they've done it. And more mistakes are made by this squad. I don't know what it is about these T-sides for Saw, but for some reason they always, every time, just overextend, push the bomb in first. And WISLA punish it every time, and it just leads to rounds like that, which really should have been much closer and much better for Saw.
There's no excuse there. Why is the bomb rushing in first? It just makes absolutely no sense. And unfortunately for Saw, it hurts them big time. A force by backs coming out from both teams. They're going to be on a force on their own. A big mistake coming out from the Portuguese side. And it hasn't been all too often, but certainly happened over a handful of times across this series where we've seen big mistakes coming out from the Portuguese side. Whether that's added pressure or what, we don't know. But what we do know is that WISLA have been able to find a response, and for Saw, they're going to try and rush the upper bomb side.
Sparrow Hades, Ponchek with kills, just comes up with one. That's all he'll get, though. And he has no idea where the CTs are firing from. Had to check mini and sight. So didn't know where to focus from. 14 for WISLA. 2 away from series victory, eliminating Saw in the last place position of this group stage. And who would have thought after Overpass that it would end up like this?
Yeah, I certainly didn't.
I didn't either.
Congratulations, high five.
No, we can't. Social distancing.
Virtual high five.
I'll send you a DM with a hand in a minute. You can send one back. Deagle set, clocks in. Just does get the opening kill on Mino. That at least is a start here for Saw. Finding their way on, M4, Ponchek gets just, they just can't land these shots. Burst up, Ponchek gets 2, Roman trades 3-on-3. And WISLA at least being contested here by Saw, but the bomb's isolated at this stage. Roman's got to get away, he can't do it. Nura sneaks in the backline. Sparrow has no idea about this. Arky, I think the most amount of noise, gets Jedka down. Hold the phone. This could actually be a chance here with positions. But as Arky falls, Muris is spotted, had to reload. There was no ammo in the gun as far as I could see. Therefore, it's map and match point for WISLA Krakow.
One thing as well, I mean, we haven't spoke about Hades a lot in this third map, Jay, but he's already found 17 kills, which is almost the amount that he found on the first and second map of this series. He's been able to put up a pretty solid performance and at least finding consistent impact. But really, it's been Spiro and Ponchak been the majorities of the brunt of just kills, impact, rounds. 15-5. Saw this has been a pretty poor performance from them on the last map of the series. And I tell you what, Jay, it could be ended right here, especially with the fact that they've lost Roman this early.
Easy frag to find for WISLA. Hades still playing towards outside. Sort of not left any more outside control. Start isolated 1v1. Just going to be left as a loss here in this round for the Source side. Downstairs into the B site. Mino sees the bomb planter again, committing forward. The first forward here. Sparrow should know that that plant's coming in a moment's time. Will he open up decon? No, if he will, Scododo will get a kill on Ponchak. Sparrow does fall, actually. 3-on-3. Jedka trying to trade back things and just on 2 points of HP. They know the bomb site is secured here. How are WISLA going to go for this retake?
No, they need to make sure they're getting a bit of a move on. Otherwise, they need to go in for the save, Jay. There's not a great amount of money in terms of reserve for the CTs, but Jedka's going to be able to open up, and so does Mino. Arky's now in a 1-on-2, and there's a potential to try and stick that bomb on the CT side, and I think that's what they're going to try and do. One person stick it, the other person look for the fight, and Jedka's going to swing out. That's going to be a 16-round up for WISLA Krakow. Saw going down after taking their opposition's map pick on overpass, and a 16-7 result. They come into the second and third map, and they just drop the ball. They absolutely drop the ball.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but I mean, it was on the one hand, I thought it was WISLA regaining confidence and